So, after some considerable technical difficulties,
That was great.
I think that we're back.
We are
I think
back.
that we are on the right channel now. Yep.
Mhm.
And hopefully that improves. So anyway, I had us on the Deadpit on Patreon channel and not the main channel. So now we're on the main. I hope we are. Rambo, I hope you're looking at this and making sure that we are doing
Yeah,
this.
I
I
see
think I should
people in the
check too.
chat.
Let me
Yeah,
check.
go ahead. Go ahead.
Aqua
Check.
Whale,
Everybody
Card
check.
Redemption.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, I see the chat coming in. Okay.
Card
Yeah, we're
Redemption
good.
talking about the chair. Thanks, yeah, this is a cool chair. Yeah, we were streaming for 10 minutes and no one was watching because it wasn't on YouTube.
It was
And I'm
YouTube
like,
at all.
I don't see on
Mm.
YouTube, where are we? And it's technical difficulties, but it makes sense because, I mean, look at the season we're talking about. Of course, something had to happen with the season we're talking about. It kind of fits. It's kind
Yeah.
of fitting for
Because
the
that
end.
season had a lot of technical difficulties in and of that. It sucked.
That's right.
So I guess, I mean, we're going to be going through seasons 10 and 11 tonight, which is not as long as you would actually think it is because season 10 has 6 episodes and I believe season 11 has 10.
That's right.
And so altogether it's 16, which is a lot less than the other, just like one seasons that we used to do. So,
Mhm.
and we were talking before, like, cause we already went through this whole spiel before, that part of the issue is that they restarted the series 14 years later in 2016. That's when they did season 10. And then 2 years after that, in 2018, that's when they did season 11. So there's a lot of just odd stuff about these two seasons that kind of spelled doom for this show. And I was amazed. I don't know about you all, but when this show came back, when season 10 came back in 2016, like I was absolutely amazed because it seemed to come out of nowhere. Like
Yeah.
nobody had really been like talking about it or anything like that to my knowledge. And then it just kind of like happened. And I shit my pants with excitement about like watching it at that period of time. And I'll be honest with you, I don't think I made it past the first 2 episodes on the original run of this series of season 10.
Yeah.
That is.
I can't blame you.
I know I started watching it and I was like, oh my God, this is awesome. And then I was just like, I don't give a shit. So
I agree.
I know,
I
Mark.
was
Yeah.
I was intrigued as well, but Mark, were you intrigued? Were you like shitting your
Of course.
pants?
I was insanely excited. I mean, I couldn't even put it into words. Like, I mean, I'm the obsessive fan here, so I was following it like for a while. I kept seeing things that like, oh, maybe it'll happen, maybe not, maybe. So when they finally did it, I was like, let's go. They're gonna. I in my mind, Chris Carter had been saving his best ideas, and he's been waiting for this for 14 years to come back. It's gonna be the best. There's no way he's got a second chance. It's gonna be flawless. We won't be disappointed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was the theory. That's one theory. What's up, Preminator?
Yeah, what's up,
Afro
Fred?
Well, Carta, Zero Cool. It's glad to see you all guys in
Oh,
here.
Afro Whale, what's up, man?
So I don't know, Mark. Where do you want Mark, Rambo, anybody? Where do you want to begin with this? Because
I want Rambo to talk his face.
yeah, it says it all, really.
Well, like you were saying, this came out of nowhere,
Mm-hmm.
and I was
Shoulda went-
intrigued
Should have went
because
back to fucking nowhere too.
when it began, I'm like, okay, the last episode wasn't that great.
Mm-hmm.
We can improve on it. We can have a good ending.
Mm-hmm.
Except, yeah, look for that, because we get wannabe Alice Jones, wannabe retconning of the past 5-6 years. Sarah Smoky Man, he might as well have been a walking skeleton, because that's all that was left of him. Might have been one of the goddamn Jason the Argonaut skeletons, because that was all that was left of him. But instead, he just had a couple burns, like he just, I don't know, smoked in bed and rolled over. He didn't get blown up by a fucking missile.
I just want
William
to.
is a douchebag.
I just want to take this moment to say that once again, at the end of season 9, he, meaning Cigarette Smoking Man, is blown up with missiles, and you see his skeleton come out of his body.
You
And
see
then,
the flesh burn off of his
yes,
body, off of the skeleton. Yeah.
and in season 10, he's wrapped up in some sort of like fucking Phantom of the Opera mask or something, and just like cocooned in these blankets, but he's fine.
Yeah.
Like everything else is fine. He's got some little bit of burns, but I swear to God, he was in a Mortal Kombat fatality at the end of season 9, and that was
Yeah.
like that should have never happened. They should have never like. But the problem is they based pretty much all of season 10 and 11 on him. Like way too much of it was based on
Yeah,
him.
the mythology. Yeah, it was.
Yeah. So I just wanted to say that.
They from the beginning, they're saying that the whole conspiracy is that the aliens, they're not really a thing. He saw a fucking UFO
Right. Well,
in the movie,
mm-hmm.
and he says it was humans doing it all now, and he doesn't believe anymore. He was in a UFO. He saw an alien face to face. He pulls Scully's broken ass out into the ice.
Well,
He don't believe anymore.
It's not that he
pretend
doesn't
to be
believe.
aliens.
Her
The
broken
government
ass, man.
pretend to be.
It's not that he
The
doesn't
government's
believe. He wants to believe. That's what it is. See?
I'm sick of him wanting to
See what
believe.
I
At
did-
some
what
point,
I
that
did there?
motherfucker needs to just believe. Like,
There's an alien right in front of his face in the movie. He was in a UFO. He saw a UFO. He was face to face with the alien. What was that? Wasn't it Sasquatch? Wasn't guy in a fursuit? It was a fucking alien. What does it need to take to believe? Does it need to be bred?
It was the
Does
government.
it need to be bent over?
it was the
And
government led by the cigarette smoking man.
Mm-hmm.
There's a whole
Jesus.
monologue where I just wanted to honestly just hit myself in the dick with a hammer, where the cigarette smoking man is just talking about, like, you know, how this has all been him, and he's controlled all this, and everything that they ever found out was because that he let them find it out. And I'm like,
Yeah.
I just, at that point, I was like, they should have ended this fucking shit at season 9. Like, at least he would have just, that season ending was awful, but at least there would have been none of this like monologue
Mhm.
nonsense.
It wasn't the aliens, it was the men using alien tech all along.
That's right.
And I'm like, do we watch the same show, or did people watch it blindfolded? Do people watching, maybe you should get your head surgically removed from your ass because it's popped in there, whether your fantasy, your reality, whatever you want to do it for, you need to get it popped out
Mm-hmm.
because Chris Carter, I don't know where his head was at. I don't know. And Marq, explain to me, Mr. X-Files aficionado expert.
Listen, I
You
know
explain to
you are.
me.
I know you have an explanation for this, but I'm going to tell you the truth that this is where season 10 is where like all hope and logic was lost from this fucking series. It really was.
Well, I always put it on most of the blame on season 11, episode 1, which is My Struggle 3,
Yeah.
which is like the official like wiping of everything away that you saw in season 10. So everything in season 10 was officially pointless.
Yep.
So to jump ahead a little bit, at the end of season 10, the last episode, you have the aliens invading. They're on the bridge. The infection and the pandemic, the outbreak has started. There's rioting. You think that Carter's going to pull the trigger. And you're left on a cliffhanger that he is about to. So you come back for season 11, and what does he give you? First, big mistake. He says, and this is at the end of the episode, but still in the episode regardless, he says, cigarette smoking man, is that the aliens, they just want to release an alien pathogen. They don't, another character, Mr. Y, says the aliens don't care about our planet. They have no intention of invading. They never really did. It's all been about this alien pathogen. And they just want to wipe out humanity. Let that sink in for a minute.
Yeah.
But
So
this season, but this season started off with them saying the past 5 years didn't matter. Oh, those are just people. Mulder believing, oh, those are just people. What was the people who were blinded and the bounty hunters? He's shape shifting, all this shit.
Now,
And now you want to say, oh, that was just people all along. What?
now, are you
What?
talking about a specific moment in like the first episode where that happens?
The whole first episode, Mulder saying, he literally says, "Oh, you know what? It was just people. They're not really a thing. I don't believe in aliens." That's him literally saying that to a character.
Yeah, I think that's the conversation that he's having with Tad O'Malley, and Tad O'Malley's
That was
sort of
Jones.
yeah.
Mhm.
So Tad's giving him this whole rundown of all these things that he thought was something that it wasn't, at least in his mind. And then we're supposed to be led to believe that that's what it is. But Mulder's, I guess, apparent lack of faith and just wanting to believe, because he says that more so now than ever, is like,
But,
go ahead.
but why? Why does he quickly buy into it after everything that's happened?
I think because there's a point in that episode where Tad O'Malley starts to show him just enough stuff for him to buy into it. For example, the spacecraft that is reverse engineered, he sees it hover silently and it goes invisible, stuff like that. Like he shows him
Which
just
I
enough.
thought that would be like the moment, where he would have like, where Mulder would have like his whole kind of everything would be validated for him, and he would be, because that's kind of how they make it out to be in that
Yeah,
episode.
right.
He sees it float. He sees that it disappears. He
Mhm.
sees all of this, and they tell him it's alien technology and all this
Mhm.
stuff. And then like just like everything else that that eventually happens with those seasons, the whole thing is destroyed. Like, the whole
It's
thing,
blown up
there's
with
no
a bomb.
evidence of it. Yeah.
Mhm.
It's just,
But I don't buy that when in the first movie he's literally face to face with aliens this far away. But then he, like, if that doesn't make you a believer, then this is crap.
Well, I mean,
crap story,
if you
crap script.
remember back in season 5 in the first episode, I mean, the Michael Critchkow character convinces him that it doesn't exist either. The guy that works for the DoD, he tells him all this stuff about the Cold War and all these things, how everything's been a smokescreen. It's literally the same recycled like plot
Yeah.
line, like from
Yeah,
Yeah, well, you
all
see
those
it a couple
seasons
of
ago.
different times, yeah.
Yeah.
which again
But
makes less sense when in the first 1990 movie, he's literally this far away. He sees an
I
alien coming out and
Hey,
coming
I'm
out of
with
the
you.
pods when he's in a spaceship. What else would make you a believer if you're in a UFO and 20 aliens are coming out to gnaw your ass?
Mhm.
well, I mean, the whole
I'm with you.
premise of the whole fucking premise of season was it 8 or 9 was he was like trapped in the with the aliens having
Season 8.
experiments and
Yeah.
shit.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Like, I mean, that was the whole thing. Anyway, we're jumping like ahead of ourselves here. So
yeah.
season 10, episode 1 is the My Struggle episode, the first one. And it's essentially where you get introduced to Joel McHale, who's one of the worst characters of all time and one of the worst actors, and I hate him. And he is like the Alex Jones type that has like a online streaming program where he's trying to expose the government and all their secrets and all this and that. And he seeks out Mulder and Scully to bring them into this because he wants their help to kind of finally, you know, expose all these secrets.
Mhm.
But what he's telling them is that the secrets are not really like an alien kind of thing. The secrets are more like that the alien thing is a cover up for a bigger grand conspiracy
Mhm.
that the government is kind of behind. So he takes them, he shows them the spaceship with the reverse kind of engineering and all that stuff. Mulder sees that's which is what we were talking about earlier. Mulder sees like the spaceship and he's amazed and all this and apparently this Tad O'Malley guy's got all these inside connections to all these UFO, you know, alien scientists and things like that.
Mhm.
Um, and the first they're really reluctant to go about both him and Scully are reluctant because Scully moved on and she's just like a doctor now, and she just works for like
Mhm.
a hospital or something. She moved on from the FBI,
Yeah,
and
she's a
yeah,
doctor in the movie, which is right before season 10,
yeah,
the second
and
movie.
so they're all kind of reluctant to get back involved in any of this, but
Mhm.
eventually, for some ungodly reason, they do.
Mhm.
And there's a lot of Tad O'Malley in this episode.
Yeah, Mulder gets sucked in pretty easily, and he's so gung ho and right back into it. Like he's right away. I mean, she even points out that you're becoming obsessed again. Like I see it in your eyes. Like you're chasing this truth, and you don't have to be the one to expose it. Like just let it go. It's not worth pursuing. But of course, that doesn't happen, and they eventually get reinstated as agents. And you know other things ensue. But this first episode, I thought, like the first few minutes, I'm like, I'll buy into Tad O'Malley. Let me see where it's gonna go. I'm not gonna, I mean, that's like all the stuff we're talking about mostly is like the first 10 minutes.
Yeah,
Let me see what happens here with this. But the way it plays out, we start to get right after that first 10 minutes, we get into the dialogue of the same old same. It's same shit, different episode,
yep.
where Mulder eventually meets this older guy who is involved with Roswell, and he's like, "Oh, Mulder, you're so close." How many times have we heard a character say that? Deep Throat said it. X said it. I mean, I could go on and on with characters that tell Mulder he's close. Even Alvin Kurtzweil in the X Files movie tells Mulder that. So again, it just it became somewhat of a parody almost because I just couldn't take it seriously with the nonstop regurgitation of lines that just have been done so many times before. And the are we in this? Are we not? Are we being led in the right direction? No, it's a lie. It's a smokescreen. No, it's the truth. All within one episode. That's not how you reintroduce the show. That's my take. The way it ends, I mean, I think you have Scully doing a test on herself on her blood, and another character
See,
that's introduced about the whole alien DNA thing. She
yes,
finds
which
out
is
that they all have alien DNA, and that's like sort of the closer.
it's supposed to be like this super dramatic thing, and it's just like so kind of anticlimactic
Mhm.
though, because at first she's like, uh so there's this lady they come in contact with, right? That's the
Mhm.
episode where they come in contact with her, and that's supposed to be the missing link because she's supposed to have alien DNA,
Mhm.
and so they run tests on her blood, and then Scully is running tests on Scully's blood at the same time, and at first Scully's like, well, it's all just normal DNA or whatever, with like something like that.
Of
And
course.
then at the end of the episode, after that poor woman is like blown up in a car by a UFO,
That was
um,
funny.
that was great. Yeah.
Yeah.
Then she's like, "Oh no, wait! It was actually DNA. It was actually alien DNA." It's like, what? We had it retested, and it like, okay.
Yeah.
So it's a horrible start to a horrible season. I'm just gonna just throw that out there.
Yeah, for
There,
mythology fans, it's a big letdown.
And nobody
there
seems
really
into it.
no,
Nobody seems into it. Like Scully doesn't,
no.
or Jen Anderson doesn't seem into it. Mulder doesn't seem into it. Like nobody really carries those episodes. They all just seem like they're just kind of like just fucking completely bored. As bored
Mhm.
as we are watching it, they are doing it. Like,
Yeah.
And they
there's
really followed
no,
through with all that super soldier stuff. That was the last season. Well,
yeah, yeah. You see
Oh,
that
yeah.
a
they
lot.
really followed through all that. Robert Patrick nowhere. He was busy doing other stuff. Good. Mitch Pileggi
Thank
barely
God
hit it.
he was the smartest one because he just got the fuck out of there. Like at that point.
Right decision.
So
Sally.
episode 2 though was
He would have been shot in the
also
head like Agent Reyes. Would have been shot in the head too.
I can't listen, I can't wait to get to that. Episode 2 though is it starts off interesting enough and then just shits the bed, but it's a episode about like a scientist who keeps hearing this high pitched kind of screaming noise inside his head,
Yeah.
and eventually he takes like what is it, a pen or something and just like tries to like remove it from his brain
Mhm.
through like going through his ear, kills himself, and then Mulder and Scully are brought in to investigate it.
Mhm.
And that is where they find that he's got written on his hand the words "Founder's Mutation," which this will come into play throughout the rest of season 10, unfortunately. And
William.
William, yeah,
Mhm.
William's a huge part of
This
all
felt
of
like
this.
X Men. That part felt like
It,
X Men power.
That's what I
it
was
did, yeah.
saying. And in the last episode of season 11, there's that X-Men joke where William says I have superpowers and the guy's like, "What? Like X-Men?" So, yeah.
Yes, we're on the right channel.
And there's also like a horrible couple sequences of like Scully and Mulder fantasizing about living with William in like a normal
Right.
kind of
Yeah.
like
Mhm.
just oh god, that was awful in and of itself too. I think we're on the right channel, CK. Let's hope that we are.
Yep. You almost forget Scully had a baby before who died, disappeared, since that's never mentioned again. Like any remarks.
Mhm.
Like, yeah, she did have like a baby before that was like made from her DNA, and she did like disappear to dust. All that was left is a cross.
Yep.
Let's never reference her again.
Yeah.
So further on in the episode, though, like you meet a couple of guys from this lab where they're doing these genetic testing on children with like these genetic malformations. But the weird
Mhm.
thing about it is they keep them all kind of like locked up.
Mhm.
There's really nothing wrong with them. I mean, they have genetic, but they're not contagious or anything. And Scully
Right.
points this out at one point too. But there is actually something wrong with them.
That's right. Yeah, I mean, they have these like you mentioned abnormalities or sort of like I would say
STDs.
extreme
STDs. Yeah.
extreme
Got the plaque.
deformities, I'll say, that make them somewhat unable to like live in normal society. I mean, some of them are like real, like like one kid's like his legs are like 10 times the size of the rest of his body, and
Yeah.
one kid like can't like open doors because his arms are too huge or something. So I mean, each one has their own unique like deformity, and you find out that the doctor is not really helping them, even though he proclaims to be doing so. They're
Mm.
they're hiding the fact that they do have some sort of alien DNA, and they all have these powers. I mean, it's X-Men. I mean, I think the best part of the episode is probably when the doctor gets killed at the end, and then like he
Yeah.
starts to shoot blood out his eyes and his nose and his mouth, his ears, and they fuck him up really bad.
Yeah, so he basically is like the janitor is Professor X, right? Like that's the that's the theme. That's the theme of this episode in the end. And he just like he's looking for his sister, and he ends up like getting pissed off, and that they're holding her, and it
Mhm.
explodes the main scientist guy's head. So
Yeah.
that's about
It wasn't. It wasn't awful. Like it was watchable compared to the first episode. It just
Mhm.
after all these years, it's kind of like I don't know. It's just like even at best, it's kind of just
It's just okay.
it wasn't anything like oh, thank God it's back because this happened.
Mm-hmm.
It was fine. Like I
Yeah.
could watch it, but it's not like a favorite or anything. Like I've seen better. I've seen much worse. It just
Yeah.
I don't know.
This
Maybe that's just me.
this was the one where I was thinking like maybe it'll lead into something more, but it really didn't. But I mean, looking back at the whole season, I would say this is probably the one episode that I like the most. But again, that's not really saying much because I just don't care for any of the other episodes.
I know the one you like the most though, Mark. It's the next one.
No.
Yeah, it is. Mulder and Scully meet the were monster. Everybody's favorite episode.
No. Not at all.
Okay, so here's my thought, just real quick. There's a way to go about doing comedy episodes,
Mm-hmm.
and I think that we can all agree that Darren Morgan, uh, James Wong, some of those guys like had really good ideas about how to do that and how to make it kind of work.
Mm-hmm.
This episode is not one of those episodes, and it is written by Darren Morgan, but it just is so annoyingly campy and just
Mm-hmm.
goofy in so many ways that I hate it. I hated it when I first watched it. I just knew that I would. Oh. So, I mean, the basic premise of the episode is that Mulder and Scully are investigating this series of murders, and they find this guy who is he British or Australian? I can't tell what the accent is exactly, but some version British, Australian, something like that, who is kind of roaming around, but it turns out that he is, and let me see if I can get this right. He is a lizard that was bitten by a human who becomes human at times rather than the
Mm-hmm.
reverse of that being, that he's a
And the
yeah,
actor is from New Zealand. So
New
I
Zealand.
guess
Okay,
New
so
Zealand.
there you go. Damn Kiwis, that's what it is.
Whoa!
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So the problem is like he's a really I guess this is where the comedy part is supposed to come in. He's like really, really proper, and he's constantly talking about how that he doesn't understand human beings and like why they do the things that they do, and that he just wants to be a lizard and go along his lizard way and yada yada yada. But they keep fucking with him, and he has to keep being around people, and he hates it, and et cetera, et
Mm-hmm.
cetera. So he's kind of like this moral voice of reason throughout the show, talking about humanity, and it just makes me want to shit myself. I just hate it. It's just not good.
Couldn't agree more. It's not good at all. Like I think when I first saw it, I was like, just meh. And then like looking back on it now, I'm like, why does this exist? Like to me, I know some people like the comedy stuff. And again, Darren Morgan is one of the better writers when doing the comedy stuff. He can do that,
Yeah.
but this just wasn't. I think if you have 6 episodes to do something, do you really need a comedy episode?
No, and especially not this. Like, goddamn,
Exactly.
what a horrible waste of time.
Yeah.
When I first saw this, I liked it because I liked the idea. I liked the idea of doing a flip on the werewolf motif instead of a human being bitten by a monster is a monster being bitten by a human. I do like that idea. And then with the previous episodes, maybe I was just grasping at straws. I just have hope.
Mhm.
They have a Kolchak because he wears the Kolchak outfit with the hat and the coat and everything. Very obvious nod to him. I don't understand why Mulder says he doesn't believe in monsters. He's seen a shitload of them, like tombs and everything else, but he's like, "Oh, I don't believe in monsters." I'm like, I can name about 80 you've seen face to face that there are monsters.
This is the theme of the season, though, which is that he just absolutely kind of just goes back on everything that he had once believed. He's just a complete skeptic now, and Scully is more of like the believer. I guess that's what they were going for. I don't know
Didn't
why, but
didn't in season 8 literally another lizard monster went after him and Agent Dottie had to shoot him when he was
Yeah.
blind?
yes,
Yeah.
yeah.
He saw one coming towards him, but he doesn't believe in monsters.
Oh, and it's weird
Mark,
because like in season
explain,
11,
please. Mark.
he says in the Ghoulie episode, which is smack dab in the middle of the season, he says that like I do believe in monsters, but I have a problem with the modern day ones. Like none of them are any good. I guess they were trying to be tongue in cheek. I mean, I don't. There's just so much inconsistency. I don't know.
Like I said, this is where all logic is kind of like lost in these seasons. Carter has a good question though. Everybody can chime in on this. Why has Chris Carter never came up with a good ending? He's had
Mhm.
multiple chances to do that, but ultimately he's always procrastinating and going nowhere.
Because he doesn't want to end the show.
Yeah, I think that's
He
probably the
doesn't want it
best.
to end.
That's the best answer.
When they asked him about the possibility of season 12, he said there's always more X Files in Mulder's like office in the drawer. There's always more cases to uncover. Like it's never over, basically. I mean, even with the cigarette smoking man, he said a million times that like he's the devil and you can't kill the devil, which is why he always fucking comes back.
Yep.
So I mean, just
He-
certain
Well, I
ideas
think
that he kind of like holds on to and he just doesn't let go of. And one of them is definitely cigarette smoking man's never dying, and then like the show never ending. He doesn't want it
Holy
to be
shit.
over.
Wait a minute, Mark. I'm glad you said that though, because this brings up a really good opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
You've got to tell the story about meeting William Davis
Oh
because
God.
yeah.
you had hinted at this, but you never told me the actual story of what happened when you tried to meet William B. Davis. And I've got to know this, and this should be documented.
So do I. I gotta know this
Yeah.
too.
Okay. I almost don't want to tell it. It's so, I mean, I love the show,
You gotta
obviously.
tell it.
One of my favorite characters. Like, he's a great actor, even. Like, okay, so we're at a con, and I had just met like Mitch Pileggi because this actually was this was in 2016. This was for the revival, so they were all
Oh,
doing as much press as possible. They even showed up to the con and they were like, we're gonna put the show over and get all these photos and a bunch of press kit stuff, like everything. It's coming back. Be excited. So naturally, I was, and I go, and Pileggi was great. David and Jillian were cool. And Jesus Christ, David's line was insanely long because like Californication had just ended too, and I saw a lot of people with Californication stuff, and then of course X Files. So he had a line around the block. So I get to William B. Davis. I'm in line, and there's only like a few people in front of me, And I'm not sure if this had anything to do with how he acted toward me, because I wasn't really paying attention to them. I was with someone at the con, a girl that I was dating at the time. She was a big fan of the show too. So we're in line, and then like he coughs really, really like excessively. And she leans over to me and whispers in my ear. She's like, "Is that from him smoking all the cigarettes on the show?" And I burst out laughing. But as soon as that happens, me and him kind of like lock eyes. And I'm like,
Oh shit.
oh shit. Like, and you know, like I'm like, yeah, I'm not looking at you. I'm looking away, like trying to play it off. But I know he saw me, and like it seems like a real dickish thing to do. So by the time I get up to him, I'm talking to him, asking him stuff, and like everything I say, it's like he's just like, or if it's no, it's like, and I'm just like, what the fuck do I do? Like I'm trying to be nice and not, you know, I'm like, this is William B. Davis. Like I want to have a conversation, but I mean, it was like talking to concrete. I couldn't get a word out of him. I don't know if the cough thing played a part. I doubt it. I mean, I don't know. I didn't bring it up.
Did he just
And
never say anything?
he never spoke.
Wow.
He didn't say one word.
Jesus Christ.
And like the lady that was with him was kind of a fucking jerk too, because she's like, I walk up and she act like I was gonna fucking shank him or something. She's just like, oh, hold on. And I'm like, I'm not even halfway near the table yet. She's just like, if you want anything signed, it's like $20 or $40, whatever it was. And I'm like, okay. And so like I get around her and then I get to him, and then like it just didn't get any better from there. It was the worst
So
experience ever.
I gotta ask though, when you were behind him, were you watching him interact with the people in front of you? Like, did he
Not really.
interact with them at all? Or
I mean, I looked up a few times, but not enough to say like, oh, I saw him talking.
yeah,
I didn't really see him interacting with people like that, at least in detail, because again, I was with somebody and we were talking. And you know, when I'm in line and I'm with somebody, like I just spend most of the time talking just to pass the time.
yeah.
So I don't know if it was me. Maybe somebody before him said something to him he didn't like. I don't know.
Fuck you.
Well,
Yeah, basically.
He's like,
Just
damn
signed
it.
my shit and like sent me on my way. And I'm like, all right. Well.
William B. Davis. Well, now I know what the B stands for, bitch. Why didn't you know?
I don't think I've ever had anything like that happen. Like I've had almost shit that bad, but I've never had anybody just absolutely not talk. You know what I mean? Like they may
Mhm.
say like one or two brief sentences and shit, and then just kind of move you along. But like I've never had anybody just stone faced fucking.
It was the weirdest experience I've ever had at a con or ever
Yeah.
meeting anybody in life, period, where they don't speak. I couldn't get anything out of him, like nothing. And I tried to be, like I said, as nice as I could given the circumstances.
Yeah.
But even like with the signing, I can't remember what I asked him to sign, or because I didn't want anything personalized. Oh, that's what it was. I asked him like, could he just write a quote from the show? Just anything. And then like when I asked him that, you would have thought I asked him like what was in his bank account. Like it wasn't a personal question. Like just the look on his face, like he was so like flabbergasted and bewildered. Like so I'm like, okay, well, I rephrased it. I was like, well, could you write anything like that, you know, anything you experienced on the set, or anything that, you know, you and David did, like anything. I literally said anything. And God, what did he write? It was the most ridiculous shit ever. I wish I had the thing in here. I don't have it. It's in the other room. It may come back to me later, but it was something that was just stupid and not even, it wasn't worth the money, honestly. And I'm too nice of a person to say like, hey, I want my fucking money back. Fuck you.
What
That's
you
how
should
I
have
felt,
done is
but
you should have talked to him and said, So is this a race thing?
Oh shit!
That would have been awesome.
You should have pulled that card. Yeah.
I could have. I totally.
So is this a
could've.
race thing? Is this
He
profiling?
probably still wouldn't have said
That's-
anything. He was.
No,
would
he
have been
probably
like,
would have just like, no.
Yeah, he would have shook his head no.
I would love to know what the deal was. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to like research other people's kind of experiences meeting him and see if that's like a common thing, because I'll bet it is too.
I've never met anybody or talked to anybody else that's ever met him, so I don't know. I don't know if that's just how he is.
There's also a site too. Oh shit. Star something where you can like they collect people's experiences with like getting autographs from celebrities. So I'm gonna go on there. I've got it saved on my phone somewhere. I can't think of the name of it. It's like maybe Star Collector or Star Guide or something like that. Anyway, but like I gotta know, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you can always
like
get Millie Bobby Brown for $500.
Holy
Come on.
shit, man! I saw that and I was like,
no,
not
gonna happen.
$500, like
500.
You know, people are paying that too. That's
there'll be
crazy
all
part.
kinds of people that will
For
do
all
that.
their chocolate milk, for their diva tears. Millie Bobby Brown is back in town.
All right, so getting back to this though, because I had to hear that story. The next
I hope you enjoyed
episode, I did in my own way. I don't know why. The next episode is Home Again.
Mm-hmm.
The fourth episode, and shit, I'm not sure I even remember what
The fan excitement for that one was because it's called Home Again. So everybody online thought it was a sequel to Home from season 4.
Oh, I wasn't even thinking of that.
That was the initial. I mean, every message board, every forum, everybody said the same thing, because what they did was to like create more, hype and like anticipation. They put out the episode list first. And so because that was available, everybody got a chance to, can add their own like ideas of what it could be. And I thought, just like everybody else, that it was Home Again. So when I finally saw the episode, I'm like, really? Fuck this. I was so disappointed.
Do you think that would have made more sense to do sequel episodes, like to their older ones, like ones that were never solved, or ones that were
at least to that one? Yeah.
They could have done that a couple of times, and it would have been probably better in terms of like what they did. And then just kept the mythology. Well, no, they shouldn't even kept this fucking mythology. They should have done something completely different. But this is majorly a Scully episode, and has a lot to do with William too, where there's like this monster going around ripping people to pieces and shit, and they're investigating that. And it turns out that
form thoughts put into existence.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
To help the homeless.
Yeah, William turns out to be a big part of this episode as well, which comes back like later on in season 11 too.
And they kill Scully's mom.
That's right. Yeah.
That's right.
Everybody got to die.
So it's like a giant trash monster thing.
Yeah, it's loosely reminiscent of the monster from the Monster of the Week episode in Arcadia in season 6.
Yeah, which I love that episode and was like 1,000 times better than this episode, if I'm being honest.
Yep.
So this kind of was a retread of that, to be honest.
Mm-hmm. Just out in the open instead of a secluded suburb, basically.
Yeah, I didn't mind the idea of a monster helping the homeless, but just not in this way. And Mulder and Scully felt like they had nothing to do with the case. I felt like the case was an afterthought. It was more about Scully's mom being sick and William, and it felt like the case was almost an afterthought. Maybe that's just me.
Yeah, I agree.
If you rework that story, I think there's possible potential of interest. A monster helping the homeless and this other stuff. Was it graffiti? There's graffiti everywhere of the monster, like they were being promoted. And maybe
I
like
think it was by one specific guy. He was kind of like the summoner, basically.
maybe like a good version of Wolfen, not the piece of crap we got or something, with the homeless.
Yeah.
That wasn't the case here, and why did they have to kill like Stoley's mom off? I mean, I don't care, but
I couldn't figure that out.
like they killed
like such a
just
random
because.
thing to do.
Mm-hmm.
They kill Skinner off, they kill Reyes off, they kill Stoley's mom off.
Do you think Skinner's dead?
Do I think
have they done
dead?
any more?
I don't even
have they done any more?
I don't even think fucking Reyes is dead. She should be dead.
It's weird. She said, like in an interview, she's like, "Oh, I'm willing to come back and do more." But I'm like, "You got shot in the head. Like, are you really coming back?" Now, Skinner, like, we're jumping the gun, but he jumps down or falls forward, I should say, and then the car goes over him and it doesn't hit him.
Right.
But he's just like trapped underneath.
He could totally be alive.
Yeah.
Agent Reyes isn't dead. It's like regarding Henry. Shot in the head, but we teach you Ritz crackers. Ritz crackers.
It's like regarding Henry. That would be the worst movie ever if you had like Reyes in that role. Oh god, that's not a bad movie. By the way. I actually like that movie.
Yeah.
Regarding Henry.
Yeah. Anyway,
but that would fit with this show and the twist.
Yeah.
With the way the characters are, that would fit.
Mm-hmm.
Oh god. So the next episode is Babylon.
Oh no.
And this one is
that's probably the worst episode.
Really awful, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Despise this one. Sucks.
So there's a lot of stuff going on here about Muslims and
blowing
probably
stuff up.
Yeah, not the most politically correct of all the episodes. And so one of the suicide bombers, like in this episode, he's in like a coma, and the whole episode is really about them trying to figure out how to communicate with him in this fucking coma. And you meet these two characters that are like, and they've done this a couple fucking times in this series, and I wish they'd stop doing it. Like they're like the doppelgangers, of Mulder and Scully,
and one's called Einstein.
Yeah, Miller and Einstein are their names.
So with those characters, there was an intention for those characters.
God, what was the intention?
So
to take over.
Not exactly. So in between season 11 and season 12, there was going to be another spinoff.
Oh.
And those characters were going to have their own X-Files thing. Now, I know this because, and I'm going to find the link to it, and then I'm going to post it in the chat. So if anybody is curious about it, you can read the script. And I think it was dated August of 2019. So in between, there was supposed to be something with them. And in the script, this has been forever since I read it, but I remember Toothpick Man from season 9 shows up. So there was going to be some kind of extra conspiracy thing in there going on. Let me find the link to it. I'm gonna post it just for anybody.
Because I had never heard that, but that actually makes sense now that like you bring it up.
I see Rambo's displeased with that idea. I'm guessing you wouldn't have watched that show.
No, I mean this whole episode where Mulder tastes mushrooms. He has a big LSD trip.
Uh-huh.
And during it, he's dancing to A.T. Brady Heart. And when you bring back the X-Files and you have A.T. Brady Heart with Billy Ray Mullet in it, you fucking fail on the F scale. Fuck. The show's dog shit at that point to this stream. Like, after all these years, I wanted to see Mulder dancing a hoedown, square dance to A.T. Brady Heart. That's what I wanted. And what universe did anyone want that?
But there's a reason behind this, though, man, because he was trying to communicate with the guy in the coma by taking mushrooms, getting messed up, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Also, I'll tell you something else about that sucks ass. It was not bad enough that he had to go through all that, but when he's on the trip or whatever, he sees the fucking lone gunman.
Gunmen. They're in there with cowboy hats and dancing, and it's so
which
bad.
that's kind of a precursor to, I think it's in season 11, the episode that makes me want to hang myself with the lone gunman.
Yeah.
Or at least
The
one of the
digital.
lone gunmen.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, okay, yeah, I know what you're talking about. I had to think about it.
Oh, so they.
It
By the
doesn't
way,
you. Yeah.
oh, go ahead.
Go ahead.
I was just
No,
gonna
you go
say,
ahead.
you want to talk about probably in any series I've ever seen the worst mishandling of like some of the like audience favorite characters was the lone gunman in this fucking series. Like,
Mhm.
dear God, in every way that they could, they completely like ruined those characters.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now I was just gonna mention, doesn't at the end Mulder heard trumpets? So it was like the voice of God. Was that what it was
Yeah,
supposed to mean?
it was supposed
So
to
was
be
it Burt
like
Reynolds?
that's good.
Yeah.
No, I mean by the show that means it would be Burt Reynolds because it wasn't he God.
Yeah.
Technically,
So Burt Reynolds blew some trumpets to Mulder because I guess he wasn't busy playing checkers at that point.
Right.
yeah, I think before the bomb goes off at the beginning, there's a bunch of bystanders that hear trumpets, and they all like record
Yeah.
it with their phone and stuff like that. And it's supposed to like signify like a big event or something that's foreseen by, I guess, the choir of heaven or whatever.
The Rapture.
Yeah, it's just
The Rapture.
it's not good, man. Like the whole thing is just bad.
A mess is what it is.
It's bad.
Which is ironic. They had to kind of start in a film called The Rapture. It was ironic.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm like, so if it's the voice of God, then in this universe, that's Burt Reynolds. I mean, that's what they said.
Yeah.
So
Jeez,
eventually, that he comes to and he says something, and that's what he says happens to be where the other bombers are hiding or something like that, and they find them, and that's the end of the episode. Thank God. So,
somehow Billy Ray Cyrus's A.T. Breaky Heart led him to that.
that's right. The last episode of this season is My Struggle 2, which will be a continuous theory or continuous theme.
My struggle.
Like,
that's our struggle is watching.
Yeah, it's my struggle. Watching these fucking. For some reason, I just kept thinking about Black Flag's My War every time I see My Struggle. I think it's just like the same thing. I think they didn't want to call it My War because of that song. And here we got Tad O'Malley coming back, so I was super excited to see him again. And you were right though. This is the episode where I can't tell if Chris Carter's intention was ever to actually like do this and maybe end the show this way. Maybe he didn't think it was coming back for season 11. Maybe like he thought like, I don't know, but this could have.
I think he did this on purpose to force them. Like, hey, come on, Fox, do you really want to end it with this? Because there are times where show creators do that on purpose. Real quick, like for those who remember the TV show Elf, it was a sitcom I grew up with. They purposely ended the show on a cliffhanger because they thought they were going to force the network to do a new season. Because come on, Elf is taken by the alien task force. You can't end it that way. They're like, yes, we can.
They did.
Called your bluff. So at times there are people that do tend to do that as like a form of bluff. Like, come on, it's the X-Files. Do you really want us to end it this way? You guys know you hopeful potential for money. So I'll end it like this to try to almost, come on, Fox, you need to give us another season. You know you do. You know in your heart you do. I think there are some manipulative ways that Chris Carter and folks do try to do that type of stuff. That's the way I think the reason he did it. He's a manipulative guy, in my opinion.
That could have been it. It's a good as explanation as any I can think of for this shit. But
Mm-hmm.
the premise behind this episode is basically like it goes back to the first episode in that Scully found out everybody has this DNA sequence in them and it's somewhat alien, and you come to find out that it's this alien contagion
Mm-hmm.
that strips your immune system down, and like everybody starts to come down with it across the country, and everybody starts to panic and freak out, and the whole thing is just about like them trying to find a cure or figure out what the hell's going on
Mm-hmm.
until
And
ultimately gets to the end. And guess who's back? Guess who fucking
Mark's
comes
favorite,
back?
Mark's
Miss
favorite guy.
Reyes.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you meant Smoking Man. He's alive.
Oh well,
He's
yeah.
got
Well, yeah,
he's-
him too.
yeah.
Burns.
He's back, but the one I'm talking about is Reyes coming back. Is claiming that
Okay,
she's
yeah.
got a fucking vaccine.
Why is she a villain now?
Marq?
Because she got approached by the cigarette smoking man and he gave her an offer that she couldn't refuse. And that this
Now
whole
you've been more of a fan of Reyes than us. Would Reyes do that? That you know?
it would seem like she would have her own agenda. No, not really, and
Mm-hmm.
sort of manipulate him and then turn on him when she got the chance. But I mean, she's never really bad per se. I mean, only thing she does is light his cigarettes. I mean, if you pay attention, that's all she does. I mean, she makes
That's
a few
why
phone
when-
calls and stuff, but she never kills anybody. She never does anything to anybody that's like
That was your
universal.
problem. You need to light William B. Davis's cigarettes. Then he would have said something. Maybe.
That was
He's like,
it.
here's a
I should
cigarette.
have offered him one. I don't smoke, but like,
You should have given him a cigarette. Yeah, I'm sure he would have loved that.
yeah.
Oh man, what a douche. Okay, so so Reyes comes back. The syndicate is supposed to be the ones responsible for all this.
And the Smoking Man is Mulder's dad,
Mhm.
The smoking
Right?
man is Mulder's dad, and
like Darth
as-
Vader.
Right.
Yep.
That's exactly right. That's what Carter said. Yeah.
And as we
Isn't
come to
that they
find
said?
out, also
Didn't
Williams.
they denounce that because he did that'd be stupid and remind them like Darth Vader? Didn't they say they weren't going to do that? Because that'd be stupid. It remind people like Luke Skywalker, or Darth Vader, and then they end up doing it.
Maybe he did
Because I
say
remember
that at
an
one
interview
point
where
in
they
the.
said that.
He might have, yeah, but I mean, he clearly thought that was the way to go after a while because I mean they did it. So yeah.
Great.
Great.
I love
It's fucking
Rambo's
stupid.
attitude. He's just
It's stupid. Like
yeah.
it's like it was laughable back then, and it's like what they think is laughable is they're taken serious with all this stuff, and it's like
hmm
they sit there and they want to say these conspiracy theory, pandemic, all the stuff that people were mocking, they took serious and said this is legitimate for this new season. All these little ideas and these little wannabe subtext, and it made the show. It's the older show is more timely than the new seasons.
Oh yeah,
Like the new seasons seem more.
dated,
What's the word I'm like thinking of?
stupid,
Yeah, that too. But
ridiculous,
all of the above.
off-putting. Yeah. The end shot in this is pretty cool though, where the UFO is like over top of them, and you think that all hell's going to break loose and yada yada yada. But
why is it that Scully's
it
abduction
doesn't.
made her
by
immune?
the way.
Scully's abduction made her immune, right? Why
Yeah,
wasn't
yeah,
Mulder
that was
immune?
part
Because he was
of it.
abducted.
That was
Wasn't
part of
Mulder abducted? So why isn't he
Mhm.
immune?
So I would imagine it's because they didn't implant anything in Mulder, and by that time they weren't working on black oil stuff. Like they had dropped that whole project, and at that time they were doing what they called super soldiers, but it was alien replicants. With the metal and like endoskeleton type T2 thing. So yeah, it was they were doing a different part of their technology or something. That's what I would have gathered from it.
Anyways, we had no plan for this shit, so let's just make it up.
Well, yeah, I mean that's true too.
Scale of 1 to 10, right? This season.
0. 0. I mean, what positives are there? There's no Mitch Pileggi. There's no Robert Patrick. Mulder and Scully, they're wear for tear for their age. The mythology is either parts retcon, parts horse piss. It wasn't scary.
Excellent.
It wasn't
explanation.
that funny.
Mm-hmm.
So what is it rated?
I give it a 1. It's by a long shot, the worst season of the X-Files.
Yeah, I would say a 1.
I thought that season 9 would be hard to top with the ending and all that shit, but no, season 10 is like awful, just from front to back, just fucking horrible season. Nobody is enthusiastic about doing it. It doesn't seem like it's just the acting is flat. All of the storylines are bad. All of the standalone episodes are bad. It's just awful. Like everything about it is just bad.
Mm-hmm.
I just watching it and getting like more and more depressed at not only like how bad that the storylines are, how like bad it looks and the way that it's filmed and how bad the acting is. Just I don't know. It was a really depressing experience. I just want to tell you. So thanks for that, Marq. Son of a bitch.
There you go. There's a cigarette smoking man right there.
Oh, Jesus God. He's still not talking to you.
No.
He ain't gonna say a damn word.
I notice he's the farthest away from you. Told you. Profiling and profiling is wrong. William B. Davis.
Oh shit.
Oh man.
So, all right. Do you want to get started with season 11? We might as well because it's not much better. It is better, in my opinion, but it's not much better.
Yeah,
I agree.
So, My Struggle Volume 3 is the first.
Our Struggle.
It was all a vision.
Yeah, My Struggle 3D is
very lazy. I was waiting for Patrick Duffy to come out of a shower and just, it was all a dream.
Afro Whale's giving us his true feelings on Scully, even at this age.
Oh, yeah.
They pulled it Dallas. That's what they pulled it Dallas, pretty much. For those who remember that show.
So, yeah, do you want to get into the giant monologue at the beginning of this fucking episode by William B. Davis, your favorite actor of the X-Files, Marq?
Yeah, so he's been pulling the strings like we've always known. He is responsible for so many various things that we actually thought were real but weren't. Like the moon landing was all faked.
Yeah.
That was him manipulating the U.S. populace, or really globally everyone. He talks about how he had the means of the freedom, the money, like everything at his fingertips to play God with all the technology that they had received from the aliens after the crash in Roswell. And you sort of see him going his own way with the project. He was sort of making himself the leader. And after, of course, everybody's been killed off in season 6, syndicate wise, we have 2 remaining people that we never knew about because they broke away from the syndicate to have their own agenda, so to speak. Not necessarily to go against the aliens, but to have their own plan of survival without fighting. And their plan was the colonization of space. So this the character was Mr. Y and Erica Price, and she's played by Barbara Hershey, who's in a ton of great
She's in the
movies.
Entity. Yeah.
Entity, Falling
Very well.
Down.
Yeah.
I mean, she's in quite a few really good movies. But again, like I've said before, they introduce characters like that, and by the end of the season, they're both dead.
Yeah. She
So
gets exploded.
she does.
He gets
And
blown up.
yeah, and then I think in the last episode, not only does she die, but Mr. Y is killed as well when Mulder goes like John Wick for like 2 minutes and starts killing everybody.
Which that was really weird, but you're right. Like he totally fucking, and that was
Mm-hmm.
nothing about that was in his character, like
No,
from
it wasn't.
before. But he just goes crazy and like
Starts
Schwarzenegger
shooting
style,
everybody.
like shoots everybody. Yeah, like 6 or 7 people are dead,
Yeah.
and just kind of runs away. So yeah.
But you find out through conversation with Skinner because Cigarette Smoking Man tries to bring Skinner into it and have him on their side along with Reyes. And he wants Mulder and Scully to go in on it with him. And he says she's already immune to the alien pathogen that's going to be released. And then, like I mentioned earlier, Mr. Y says that the aliens don't want the planet. But Cigarette Smoking Man is hell-bent on carrying out their plans of destroying all life with the pathogen. So he's begging Mulder to kill the Cigarette Smoking Man before he destroys everyone. And Mulder doesn't buy into their plan about them leaving Earth because he's like, how are you going to evacuate 7 billion people? It's not possible. There's only going to be a select chosen few. So people are just offering partnerships, basically. Mr. Y and Erica Price are doing that, and then so is Cigarette Smoking Man, trying to get people on his side from within the government, or FBI, I should say. To no avail, of course. Nobody joins anyone, but that should be obvious. And yeah, for this to be the substitute for the invasion angle that we were led to believe that was happening at the end of season 10 in the last episode. Utter stupidity. I mean, beyond ridiculous. The worst idea ever.
wow.
It's horrible. I was so disappointed. I mean, but that's Chris Carter for you. I hate to keep shitting on the guy, but man, it's a love-hate relationship with him because he gave us the X-Files, something I love so much. He created it, but then toward the end, he spent so much time just trying to keep it going without breaking any new ground or pulling the trigger on anything. Like I've said in the past, I would have just had them invade. You can't tease something like that for 10, or I guess at this point, 11 seasons and never deliver. Just go the fucking District 9 route. Go make it fucking Alien Nation. Just have them come already and then carry it out from there. It's your job as a writer to come up with that and make it work and flush it all out. But it doesn't happen. And retconning it is not the way to go just to continue the show. That's bad writing. It's piss poor filmmaking, or at least TV series filmmaking, if you want to call it that. It's just
Yeah. What's up, Michigan Dipper? By the way, this also has probably one of my least favorite subplots of any of these seasons, where Scully is connected to William through some sort of psychic,
a telepathic link.
Fucking yeah, telepathic.
Yeah,
nonsense.
Yeah, that's all.
And also, William is the least likable goddamn character in the world. He's like fucking Tobey Maguire from Spider-Man 3. He's emo all the time.
Yeah.
Yep.
Could have done without that. Could have done without William. Could have done without the whole thing with that.
He's like Robert Pattinson in The Batman. When he's Bruce Wayne, he's just emo all the time.
Yeah.
He's like a teenager that's on antidepressants and they're not working. And he's just
I like Robert Pattinson 10 times more in The Batman than I did this Jamoke. Was there an episode where he banged 2 women and was cheating on them too? There's like two
Yes.
women. Like,
Yes. He had two
what
girlfriends. Yeah.
great guy. Wonderful guy.
Hey, I don't blame him. I mean, you know,
Right.
why
What an
not? I
ass.
mean,
What a
Also,
character.
if you want to talk about
Yeah.
another horrible thing you find out in this that makes no goddamn sense and is completely just manufactured bullshit for this season for some reason,
mhm,
is that the cigarette smoking man, via a flashback you find out, is the one that actually impregnated Scully.
mhm.
He
And
Bill
was
Cosby.
his DNA is somehow spliced with alien DNA,
Mhm.
and he implanted it in Scully. This is what I'm talking about. At this point, it's just like I feel like they had a dartboard that just had different shit that could possibly happen, and they're just like throwing like darts at it.
Right.
It's like
Yeah.
the cigarette smoking man impregnate Scully. It's like nothing.
Bill, fucking Bill Cosby. He Bill
Yeah,
Cosby'd her. That's what he did.
he did.
They did.
Yep. He Jello pudding popped her. He sure did.
It's just the meatballs with the food pops in the days. Why?
Anybody have
Why?
anything to say about this abomination of an episode?
Why? Just why?
Well, as Chris Carter would say, why not? Let's just do it.
Because it's
Got
suck
nothing else.
dick. That's why not. Assholes and elbows. It sucked. That's why not. Were
Sucked a lot
people
of
really
penis.
happy with all the squat? And why is Stolly's voice so damn raspy? It's I talking like this the whole season. Like she's talking like Christian Bale Batman. Hey, I'm Scully. I don't know if she was sick. I don't know if something was going on. I'm sorry if there was, but
She started
she's
smoking
still-
cigarettes.
Still, that's why he wouldn't be Davis Beds. In the convention, stolen cigarettes. He's like, I'm not talking to anybody.
We'll find
Well,
out what's behind. I'm gonna do research into this though, more. I'm gonna figure out why he wouldn't talk to you, and I'm gonna write him a strongly worded email.
But that was, I mean, that's another thing is that the acting, like, the Coveney's getting older and he wasn't there.
Mm-hmm.
And Jillian, just his raspy voice was distracting and affected her performance. And it says a lot when we get to the end that literally after it was when it was done, Jillian has said, I'm not doing any more of this. She literally did a gif where she said, oh boy, do I ever hear you to the fans, and slowly rolling her eyes. She hated the ending as well. She hated what happened to her character. She hated that she was pretty much useless in the season. And that's why she said, I'm not doing any more no matter what.
Mm-hmm.
I don't blame her. Because I think she was sold a false bit of goods from Chris Carter. I bet he sold them a pitch of this is going to be the ending. But then Chris Carter pulled his razzle dazzle. M. Night Shyamalan Ding Dong sight job. Sight ain't really, it's never over.
Mm-hmm.
Ain't nothing over till it's over for Chris. And I think he lied to some of these people.
It ain't over till it's over.
That and like,
Not be surprised.
I know Duchovny has like you say it all the time, Matt. You say it about Keanu Reeves. He says yes to everything. He's too nice of a guy. From what I hear, it's the same thing with Duchovny. He's way too willing to like work with Carter, and I mean they're like close friends in real life. And I mean he always says like he owes him his career, which again, all that's true.
He does. That's true.
But you have to.
Do you
like,
think this could have been?
Go ahead.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, you
I was going to say, do you think this could have been saved if it wasn't Chris Carter in season 10, 11? If they brought a new guy who was actually fresh and would actually be like, get Chris Carter away and have someone else do it. Do you think there could have been a chance?
Like Ryan Coogler?
No, fuck him.
I'm sorry, I'm joking. No, I don't think you could have saved it necessarily. I don't think it would have been as bad as it was. It would never be like the original run.
Right.
That time's just over. I mean, of course,
But it
that's
seems
what
like
we
Chris
want.
Carter's the biggest problem, is what I'm saying.
Oh
It seems
yeah,
like he's the
I
biggest
agree.
problem.
Yeah.
So if you take him out of the equation, you had someone else, like if it was Glenn Morgan, James Wan taking control, or even Darren Morgan, or who's the guy who did Breaking Bad?
Vince
Was that
Gilligan.
Ben Skilling, yeah.
what if it was him running it and Chris Cartwright? Do you think there could have been a chance?
I think it could have been way better if it was Vince Gilligan for sure. I mean, he's my favorite writer on the show. So, and I
Yeah,
know
look
he's
the way
not.
they were Breaking Bad. So
Yeah,
Yeah.
and what he was able to do with Better Call Saul too. I mean, he got 2 shows that were pretty much flawless. I mean, those are phenomenal shows. I think it's what I've always said. It's just Chris Carter's afraid to like end this, and I think if it was Vince, he wouldn't have been afraid. He would have taken every chance in the book, and he would have known that you do end it at a certain point, which is why he chose to end Breaking Bad at season 5 when it was at its hottest point. That show started and nobody was really watching it the way that they were by the end, and it got progressively better. Like the first season was cool and interesting. Second season, okay, they're finding their groove. It's really good. Third season, great. Fourth season, amazing, and then fifth season, outstanding. Like, but he knew where to end it, and he said he
yeah, I
didn't
wanted.
feel any
Yeah.
compulsion to continue because these characters have come full circle. Everything's come to fruition. I've evolved them as much as I can, and I don't want to keep going and make it just this never-ending episodic thing that just has no purpose for going other than just being, popular.
Yeah.
So,
Which is kind of what this shit was at this point.
yeah.
Yeah, when the good and the dating's good, don't be dragged off the stage. And that's the
Mhm.
bad thing with a lot of these franchises is that they don't know when to let it go, and they're dragged kicking and screaming off the stage, and they shit their pants and they make
Yeah.
a fool of themselves. Just like this
Mhm.
show crapped its pants and made a fool of itself.
I
Because
really,
yeah,
I was just gonna say, I really, like I said, I'm not sure that I ever watched all of season 11, like when it was on or anything.
Mhm.
But I was really depressed watching these 2 seasons to see what had become of this show. Like, because I mean, my
Mm.
memories of it were more around like season 9 and things like that, like that particular
Okay.
ending. And then watching these 2, I was just like, God damn, they really just like dropped the ball as much as they possibly could,
Mhm.
like in any way to try to revive this show. And I'd like to just personally think that seasons 10 and 11 don't exist. That's just kind of where I'm at with it. I'm just kind of like, I don't even want to think they exist. There's a couple of good standalone episodes in season 11. I'm not going to like say there isn't, but as a whole, no, I'm just going to act like they don't.
you had to get through a lot of stuff to get to them.
Which,
Yeah.
by the
You had
way,
to swim through a lot of crap.
speaking of shit that I'm going to act like doesn't exist, I'm not talking about this next fucking episode. Y'all can talk about it. It's awful. It's one of the worst episodes of the entire series. I hate everything about it, and it's just another example of like what they did just wrong in this show.
Mhm.
But it's called This, and
Mhm.
this is the Langley episode, basically. So if y'all want to talk about this, you can. It's fucking horrendous.
Yeah.
Okay,
Go ahead.
wait. Well, now you set yourself up, man. You gotta talk about why it's the worst of the worst, Uncle Bill. You gotta talk about like you can't get out of that easy. Like, what makes it the worst of the worst? What is it? Is it the story? Is the way they handle the
Because
characters?
you take like a beloved character from the show and you basically say that he's in cyber hell and he can't get out of this cyber hell until somebody like
You know?
pulls the plug on him.
Mhm.
And that's the whole basis of this episode.
Mhm.
Or basically just them trying to get him out of this like
Digital slavery.
digital slavery. Yeah. Which is such a depressing thought that even after they fucking kill him off, he's still in like some sort of limbo digital hell like thing. Like, so it's not bad enough that
And
they
then
had to kill him off, but
yeah, then they shut it down, but then it didn't work because he's still trapped. And he's like, "There's another," and you never hear of it again,
Mhm.
ever. So as of now, to this day, they're still stuck in
yep.
cyber hell. They're
That's
still
what
trapped.
this is what I mean. Like one of the worst mishandlings of characters ever in any series that's beloved. Just fucking. It's worse than the fawns jumping the shark. It's worse than. It's just bad.
Yeah. Well, they did it with a lot of characters. Like, regardless how you feel, there's no more show after this. Mitch Pileggi. The last thing is a car's running over him. He might have gotten out, but that's the last image you see of Skinner.
Mhm.
No matter what. I'm not big on Agent Race, but there were people who liked her. Shot in the head. Last bit you see. For people who liked her, that's what you did. Nobody got a happy ending, really. Even Mona and Scully. Here's a miracle baby again. Because you
That's
were
right.
really a
She's
dad.
pregnant
No
again
one-
at the end of the
Yep.
season.
Yep.
And no one like. And then that episode sucked. This more like it. Completely pointless.
God damn.
They shut it
great.
down, and there's a backup. They tries to be an action movie as well because you get shot at and they're shooting in a cemetery. I'm like, is this 24? It's a Ron Fox show.
That's what it
Fox.
felt like. It felt like an episode of
Jack
like
Bauer.
24. I
Yep.
mean, it starts with like 3 assassins coming to kill Mulder and Scully, and Mulder's woken up by his phone, which is Langley on the phone saying, like, can you hear me? They know that I know, something like that. And he keeps like repeating something like that over and over.
That almost seems like a studio note. Someone going, "Hey, this show's too boring. Make sure to have some action." You mentioned, even doing like John Wick. Now with this, it's like, "Oh, the show's too boring. Make sure you
Yeah.
put some shootouts, action." Which X-Files was never that. So I don't know if there was
Yeah.
studio notes or what.
Yeah, I noticed that throughout like season 11 especially. There's way more like gunfighting. There's a lot of fist fighting. Way more like in one season packed in like than any of the other seasons.
Yeah, you
And
remember how
Yeah.
before, like Mulder's big thing was that he always loses his gun and shit, and now he's
Mhm.
like fucking John Wick and everybody. Like,
yeah,
it's
he
just
is.
like,
He even slit that one guy's throat in the first
yeah,
episode. He was the guy's trying to like suffocate Scully with a pillow, and then he pulls out like a scalpel and like slits his throat. I'm like, whoa.
so it's completely against character and against type of what they were trying to do. And
Yeah.
I don't want to talk
Not
anymore about
consistent.
fucking this.
It
Well,
sucked.
Actually,
You find out it's all Erica Price at the end, basically.
yeah, well, that is one thing, and she wants to like keep them all in there, and everything like that.
Mm-hmm.
Erica Price is
Yeah.
Barbara Hershey, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. The next episode I actually liked. I'm not gonna lie. I actually enjoyed this one. It's a standalone episode called Plus One, which is about like doppelgangers that keep showing up,
Mm-hmm.
and when they show up, like you're eventually like murdered or killed by them. And turns out that it's this brother and sister combo that are playing hangman of all things. But it sounds kind of stupid, but it actually like works in the execution of it. Because one of them's like the sister is crazy and she's got like split personality, so she's like a evil sister at one point, and then like the good one at another point, and like
Mm-hmm.
Scully has to deal with her, and Mulder has to deal with the guy. And
And
it
she's
really
also playing her brother as well.
right, which is all it's all great the way that it works out. I liked it anyway. I like this episode.
Definitely better than the
Mark
previous
didn't like
one.
it. I can tell that Mark did not like this episode.
I how could
Just
you tell?
fucking say it, Mark.
I mean, yeah, I'm good. I'd rather
Really?
watch
Really?
like
Did you like this one better than this, Mark? Did you?
that's a good question. Now that
Because
put
you
it that
should
way.
have.
I definitely did.
Goddamn digital fucking.
I don't know. Like I'd rather watch this over this one.
Oh my God!
Over
You've got
plus
to
one.
leave.
I
You need to
can't
leave
agree with that.
immediately.
Yeah, I'd probably watch. I think it's because like you kind of know the whole thing, like going in. They're trying to figure it out. Mulder figures it out super quick, as he always does.
Mhm.
and then it's just them like sort of playing hangman on post-its,
Yeah.
and like
I will grant you that part of it was a little bit like silly, but
yeah,
I just thought that the woman in it did a pretty good job. And some of the
yeah,
scenes
she's
with
fine.
her,
Yeah.
some of the scenes with her and Scully were pretty funny
Hmm.
when she's like throwing shit at her and everything. Um, but yeah, I mean, I enjoyed it as a standalone episode. Like of like season 10 and season 11 so far. Like this is probably my favorite episode. If that tells you anything about the quality of these seasons. And the next couple ones are not bad either. I'm not gonna lie, because they're all kind of standalones and they're all fairly decent in one way or another.
I hated this next one. Watch it again. Forehead sweat.
Lost Art of
Is it
Forehead
Lost Art of
Sweat.
Forehead Sweat. Yeah,
That fuck. I remember not mine when I first saw it, but this one, Reggie annoyed the hell out of me,
Hmm.
and he was just so like punchable, and just when he was in the flashbacks, and he's like making these snide comments among the older episodes. I'm like, this is like a lame ass Twitter bot just commenting on these damn situations. It just, and the Mandela effect could be interesting, but
Hmm.
it's just annoying as hell. Especially, and then that 8-year-old Mulder with the head, his 8-year-old body,
Yeah.
but his Mulder. I'm like,
yeah.
what the hell is this?
I think they just really were like, we need to do something with the Mandela effect because that was popular around that time. Like that
It
was
was, yeah.
coming, that was coming around, and they wrote rather than like have a good idea and write something, they wrote it around just that idea, and really didn't know what the
What
hell
do
to
you?
do.
But what do you think of the Mandela effect in itself?
You mean the idea of just like
Yeah.
that we sometimes think things happen that don't really happen, and like we see things like, I
Is there any
mean,
truth for it? Just all BS? Just so they manufacture?
no, there's
Just
there's
this?
100% truth to it because your memory like
Okay.
fills in things for you.
Hmm.
Like that's the
Yeah.
biggest part of the Mandela effect is like, you there's this kind of thing that you can do where if you write down like certain parts of letters and then look at them, like your mind will automatically fill in the rest of the letter.
Hmm.
So it just is programmed to do that. Like you see things all the time that you're kind of filling in like this is not really reality what I'm looking at right now. My mind is filling in like parts of this room that it's been assimilated into my memory, which
Hmm.
is a crazy ass thought even just to think about. But also part of the Mandela effect is that like you are filling in parts of things that you didn't really see just based on what your mind thinks would actually be there. So I think it's
So,
pretty interesting.
so I was wondering, were there anything specific you two went through that you would consider a Mandela effect personally? Like you
That
remember
shit,
something, but you remember
that
false.
dude, like before that story became an issue, that same shit with that Sinbad movie, uh, the
Shazam,
Shazam
Kazam.
or whatever. Like I
Yeah.
really thought that was I thought I'd seen that movie. I thought that like the whole thing, man. I was convinced that was the actual thing. So when I saw that, I was like, so this didn't exist. And then you come to find out like it really didn't exist. But I could have swore that I watched that movie at one point in time or another. So that's one that I know
Hmm.
for a fact
Okay.
too, that I actually bought into that completely. And I'm sure there's other ones like if I thought about it
Yeah.
enough.
Not one that
What
I
about
can
you?
think of. For me, it's more I have
Okay.
like deja vu way more than
Oh yeah,
Mandela
constantly.
effect.
Hmm.
But yeah, nothing comes to mind for that.
Yeah. Deja vu is such a weird experience too.
Hmm.
Because you literally feel like you've been there at that spot before. And
Hmm.
I don't know about you, Mark, but my immediate thought is always that all these are like pieces of some sort of puzzle that are leading to something. Like whenever I have
Hmm.
that experience or whatever,
Hmm.
like I feel like there's another experience that's like coming after that, and then there'll be another one that's all leading to something. Like I don't know how to explain it other than the fact that like these are all premonitions of things that I've already experienced that I'm going to come upon like down the road, like in a sequence.
I've experienced something like that where I'm living a moment, and then I swear it's something I dreamt like years ago, but I don't remember it. But it's like in the back of my head, it's like, why does this seem familiar? Was this some kind of like weird afterthought dream that was 5 seconds? But I remember that. I don't know. Maybe it's such a weird feeling. I don't know how to explain it. Maybe deja vu. I don't know.
And what the fuck is deja vu? Like, there's all kinds of theories about what it is.
It's a pretty good Denzel Washington movie. Tony Scott. But what do you think of the episode? Forehead Sweat. The lost art of forehead sweat.
I honestly, it wasn't great. I'm kind of on the fence with it. It wasn't great. It wasn't like one of the ones that I thought was awful either. I thought that a lot of these episodes, these standalone episodes, were okay. There's a lot of stupid shit in this episode, though. I'll give you that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I had the same experience as you, Matt. Like when I first saw it, I was like, oh, this is kind of cool. Like I like what they're doing. I wasn't into it like right away, but then as it kept going, I'm like, this is great. But then now watching it again, like years later, I'd probably skip this one.
So
the Reggie Camp. Yeah, you mentioned campy. The Reggie character is very campy of a character, very overzealous in his comedy.
Yeah. The only one that still bothers me is the scary movie Mandela effect. It makes no sense of the line, I see dead people, which copies 6 cents. Okay.
I don't know about that one.
I don't know what that means. Jackson Jack says, also deja vu is literally just when your brain cells cross over the same parts of your brain and create synapses that are just similar, and it feels like things that you've experienced before. You're really taking all the fun out of this, Jackson Jack. You really are, right?
That's a Scully explanation. Agent Scully explanation.
Scientific explanations. See, episode 5 is Ghoulies 3. Ghoulies go to college.
Yeah, baby. Valley.
I recently got all those on Blu-ray. Actually,
awesome. Oh, good. So Ghoulie is a pretty interesting take on where people see monsters and they think Deja's got fucking deja vu over there.
This monster, to be more specific, yeah.
And they believe that all these monsters are out to kill them, and so I think in particular 2 teenage girls, or yeah. Michigan Dipper, I didn't get CK anything for his birthday because he's a grown ass man. He don't get me nothing for my birthday. I don't get anything for his birthday. But what we get is our undying love for each other and just doing all these shows. That's what I'll say.
No, Ghoulies 3 is not on Blu-ray. I think Marq was being Ghoulies 1 and 2. He got on Blu-ray.
All 3 are on Blu-ray.
Ghoulies 3 is on Blu-ray?
Yeah, it's
oh, he's gonna whip it out.
Well,
how did I miss this?
I could get it. Give me 1 sec. It's right here.
I didn't know Ghoulies 3 was on Blu-ray.
I'll be right back.
This is a DVD or VHS. Yeah, this is one with the William is seeing the 2 girls.
Yes.
Great William. Yeah. That guy's an asshole.
I don't know. Just as a segue while we're waiting on Mark to come back, though, did you see the new box set, the video store box set that Arrow Video is releasing?
With the Empire films?
Yes, I went ahead and bought that.
Yeah, like Arena, Dungeon Master. Was it
Dolls and Cellar Dwellers in there, as is Robot Jocks, I think, is the last one. I don't own any of those movies on Blu-ray, like not a single one of them. So I just went ahead and bought that set because it's actually pretty cheap for everything that comes with it. It's like $60, and there's like 5
pretty good.
Blu-rays and like a bunch of books, lobby cards, different stuff like that.
It's pretty good.
You
Okay,
can
I'm
get it.
back.
Mark, I know you're going to get that, so don't even fucking act like you're not going to.
Getting what?
That Arrow Empire box set.
Oh yeah, I already pre-ordered it.
Could always count on you for that. All right.
Yeah. So yeah, here it is right here. It's all
Oh,
three.
that's cool.
Yeah, it's
Oh,
a media
okay.
book.
I've never even seen that.
So yeah, it's
Who released that?
this is I think it's an NSM release. Yeah, NSM Records.
Cool.
I don't know if you can see that. The glare is ridiculous right now.
NSM. Okay. No, I've never seen that.
Guys asking
that
about this
Blu-ray?
on the chat though. The cheapest place I could find it was Grindhouse Video, had it for $62 and then shipping, so you
Oh.
can get it from there.
Okay.
But okay.
Ooh.
What were you saying, Rambo? Did you ask me something?
Now I was saying that's a Blu-ray as well.
Yeah.
Blu-rays all. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's like I mean, like usually if you go over overseas or whatever, looking like the different territories, like remember I showed you this this Hellraiser 4
yes.
media book. This is the 4K, and it's not on 4K here. I don't even think it's got a really good Blu-ray release. I think it's like in one of those cheap like double feature things. But
The dimension stuff.
yeah, all those companies like 84 Entertainment, which is this Hellraiser 4 one, and the NSM one, like all those guys, like they put all that stuff out, like it, especially if it doesn't come out here. I think that's like their thing, maybe like they know the different territories and what comes out where, so they try to cater to it. It seems like they always do that.
Oh, and there's a Blues 3 digibook from Germany as well. So yeah. Okay.
Yes, that's right. There is a
Hell
standalone one. Yeah. Yep.
Sorry, I
All
went
right.
off topic with the Ghoulies.
That's fine. This series, this particular season, make you want to go off topic. This next
Ghoulies
episode
3
makes
is better than this fucking season.
it is. This next episode makes me want to punch somebody in the face because it takes place in Mudlick, Kentucky, which is actually a real fucking place. It's about
Mudlick.
10 to 15 miles away from where I'm at. And what makes me want to like just implode is that nothing about this episode looks like Eastern Kentucky. The forest don't look anything like forest around here. They look exactly like something in California, which I'm sure is where that was filmed at. Nobody talks like they do around here. The accents are all horrible. The premise of the episode is that Skinner goes missing, and like it starts off with him being in Vietnam and having PTSD, kind of like flashbacks, and then he ends up going missing in Kentucky for some reason. And Mulder and Scully go out there to try to find him, and you come to find out like that so he's all these weird stuff is going on with this monster creature that keeps showing up, and they're trying to figure out if it's Skinner killing people or killing these old war veterans, or if it's like this monster trying to do that, and yada yada yada. And I just want to punch a baby. But go ahead.
If this didn't take place in Mudlick, like say it took place in Michigan, or do you think you would have liked it or no?
Yeah, I probably would have liked it more, but just the fact that it's so shittily portrays like where I'm at, like you know what I mean? Like if you live somewhere and you know exactly what everything looks like and everybody sounds like, and like and then they put it on and it's nothing at all like what it's actually like, it just takes me completely out of it.
How far away is Mudlick from where you're at?
It's like 10 or 15
Around.
minutes. Yeah, it's
Oh, wow.
it's up maybe one county over from where I'm at. Yeah. That's where this is supposed to take place. So there's Mud Creek, which is a subsidiary of Mudlick, I guess I should say. Yeah, I'm not even positive that they knew there was an actual mud lick, but there is. Maybe they
And you
did.
see, like
Maybe
the
they did.
trees look nothing like the trees
That's
over
the
there
part that
and all
got
that
me. When
stuff.
you when you're in the forest around here, you don't have these huge like, California tree, like what are they called, the California redwoods. Like, you don't have anything like that here. Like, you
Mhm.
have a lot of smaller, like, just, man, like a couple of like pine mixed with a couple of, oak and things like that, but they're not huge trees like this. And then you see the forest in this, and you can definitely tell they're like west coast,
Mhm.
Hmm.
northwest kind of forest. Just it looks
Okay.
just completely different. And I don't know why, but that just
Hmm.
really bothered me.
No, that's understandable. I mean, I didn't know anything about that. I didn't mind the episode. I liked it. Although Haley Joel Osment, his accent's pretty laying on thick, and he, how
Yeah.
I put it nicely, he ballooned up.
Yeah.
I don't know how else to, which it took me a bit to recognize him.
Mhm.
But hey, I mean, it is what it is. I like that Skinner got more to do. I like that Mitch Pileggi got more to do. But again, they set up something and they never finish. He's losing a tooth. He's infected. We're never gonna follow that up.
Right.
Everybody in this
They're
is
going out
losing
there.
teeth. Yeah.
He just
I
gets
mean,
hit by a
apparently.
car or whatever the hell. So it doesn't matter.
He looks like
Yeah.
he ate Robert Patrick. That's what it is. God.
Yeah.
That's what happened to Dog.
It it was a good episode, I think. I like, of course, like Rambo said, like more Skinner is always nice. Um, more of his backstory, learning about his time in the war, and
Mhm.
I like the idea of the chemical gas thing, because you've heard all the horror stories about stuff that's possibly like,
MK Ultra type.
Yeah.
yeah. So that was cool, and then the whole thing with the monster suit, um, a way to put sort of a X-Files spin on it, with
Mhm.
the whole town believing in like this local legend of this monster, which kind of gave like the Village vibes a little bit, just the way it looked.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Hmm.
and then just them sort of going on the hunt. Oh, how could we forget? One of the best characters in the show comes back in this episode. You know who,
Oh,
Mm.
go ahead.
Rambo. Yeah, so God, I don't even want to fucking say his name. He sucks so much. Kirsch is
Go
back.
ahead.
I don't
Back to
know
it, everyone. And
what you have against Kirsch, but I guarantee he would talk to you though, Mark. He
he
wouldn't
probably
like
would.
he wouldn't
He
leave you like this
probably
hanging.
would.
Okay, Mark explains to me.
Mhm.
Kirsch helped him at the end of season 9, right?
He did.
Yes.
So why is
That
he
was
now
the whole
addicted
weird.
again to them?
Well, I mean, because that speech got to him, man. Like,
The Mulder
he was
speech.
he
The
was so
Mulder speech
moved
gun.
that he felt compelled to help, but he never said he believed in the cause. And in this, season and in this episode, you see like I don't care about your theories and what you believe in
He
and all
says
that
that
crap.
several times. Yeah.
He does. He's like, all I care about is, finding Skinner. So yeah, still the company man, still the asshole that he
Mhm.
always was. And yeah, I like the ending of the episode too. Um, them being in the pit, um, Skinner gets impaled through like the stomach with like a little piece of spiked wood. So he's like fucked up and dying in the hole. Then Mulder gets knocked in, and then he's gonna set them on fire. He starts pouring gasoline on them and stuff. He gets shot and stopped. Haley Joel Osment does, and he runs away,
Yeah.
but then gets killed by one of his own traps in the woods, which was pretty graphic death scene for TV. I
They
thought
really had some graphic shit in this season.
they do.
Yeah.
which is not a bad thing. I'm just
No,
saying.
not at all.
Yeah.
Yeah, some
And
really
I
good
did like
practical
the
stuff.
at the end where Skinner admits that Mulder and Scully are sorry that he didn't advance, and he's like, I didn't believe in the system, but you guys made me a believer again. I thought that was a nice character moment.
Mhm.
And then that's partly countered by his teeth falling out. So I guess he's gonna die or whatever. So I guess even if doesn't get run over, he'll also be, I don't know, back in Ludlam, Kentucky, maybe with booby traps or wherever the hell else.
It kind of
So
made me
even
think,
yeah,
it kind of made me think that maybe he didn't have like, or maybe a slight immunity to it, because he said like he was exposed to it before back during the war and it didn't affect him as much because it wasn't as much like exposed to him. But I mean,
mm-hmm.
you see that Haley Joel Osment's whole thing is that like they're using this to, the government's using this to control people. What if you could control a populace with this gas and stuff like that? So again, it's another conspiracy
Yada
theory
fucking yada
episode.
with the government again.
Yeah. The government's the enemy.
So this next episode, I'm not even begin to like try to RM9SB G93XZ
Yeah,
JZ. Yeah.
it's a base 64 code. It's called Followers. Is really the
Ah.
name of it. Followers.
Mm-hmm.
So this
This
is the one you like though, man, isn't it? Like, yeah.
yeah, this one I like probably more than anybody else out there. This is not only my favorite of both these seasons, but I liked it so much it's in my personal top 10 list because I loved how unique it was. I loved from beginning to the end, I thought, where was his energy and creativity throughout the rest of the show? Like, it felt very different from the norm. It felt very unique from the other ones. Even the way it begins, I did not know about the chatbots that Microsoft created, and that 24 hours later, because of people talking, it became uh, Hitler loving sex robot. Like, that was interesting to hear about.
Mm-hmm.
And it's Mulder and Scully at a diner, which I never knew these diners existed. But for the show, I'll go along with it. It's
They
all
do.
automated. They do? Okay,
Yeah,
I've
I
never
mean,
been to
there's
one.
like, I mean, I've seen like robots carry out people's orders at like Denny's. So I mean, they're around.
Oh, okay.
Even like some grocery stores have like robots in them now. But
God, they better not do that shit around here. People freak out and shoot them with like 12 gauge. They had a robot going around Food City or something down here. These motherfuckers be hitting it with sticks.
Yeah,
Get your ass out of here.
I'm sure you guys are seeing like, you know, even the self-driving cars that pick people up now. I mean, they have those now. I mean,
yeah.
it's sort of like the Johnny Cab from Total Recall.
That's crazy to think about that exists. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I love pretty much they give Mulder's order wrong. It's a weird kind of fish. It's not the thing he ordered. It's a sushi restaurant. He doesn't tip. And that simple fact throughout the whole night, they're even in their separate houses, they're just slowly stalked and attacked by all sorts of appliances, of AI, robots, drones, uh, the doors locked and automated for Scully, the flying drones from Mulder's house. It was interesting that there was a lack of dialogue. I mean, each person probably says like 5 sentences at most.
Yeah.
The direction, there was like different ways of camera angles, camera movements. It just felt very refreshing. I also like little bits in there, like Scully's password is the dog Queequeg. Was that his name?
Quick
Yeah.
Like that was
quag,
the password
like
to it.
Yeah. Quick
But
quag.
that was nice. And there's a lot of relatable stuff, like Mulder trying to get in. It's like, we've dealt with this, the automated phone where, I'm sorry, I did not catch that. And you say it for like 5 times,
Oh yeah.
and the automated just keep giving you the runaround. So that was relatable. Like, that was humor that worked compared to other episodes that was just even more campy. Just it just felt really different and refreshing to me. I just really enjoyed. I wish there was more of stuff like this, really outside of the barn thinking
Hmm.
of making an episode. It felt I had not seen X Files like this before, but at the same time, it still fit. It didn't feel too jump the shark ish. So if there was more episodes like this, as well as a better mythology story, it would have been for the better. So I really enjoyed it.
Yeah. Yeah. Same here. Pretty much the same thoughts.
So let's see.
What about you? How do you feel? UB.
Me? Oh,
Yeah.
I don't think I watched this one, to be honest. Like, this is one that I think I just completely skipped just because I don't know. By this point, I was uber depressed, so
Hmm.
I just started
I
skipping
would
shit.
recommend at least this as a standalone. I would recommend it. It's such a breath of fresh air in a whole season of rank ass, the way I would put it.
Rank ass, yes. Familiar? I know I didn't watch this one either, so y'all
That's my favorite episode of the season.
okay.
It's kind of like the Handy Verlitz episode, only it deals
Yes.
with with witchcraft. But there's a TV character called kind of like Slender Man, but it's Mr. Chuckleteeth, I believe it's called.
Yeah. This guy.
There he is.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
kind of nasty beginning because as a boy, it's kind of like it where the
That's
boy like in the same yellow slicker.
it's
and they
very
find the
Stephen
remains of
King,
the
the
boy
episode.
mangled.
Yeah.
But go ahead, Mark. I know you talked highly of this.
Yeah.
I talk all about the other one. You go for it.
Yeah, so this one, I mean, just from the opening shot, I mean, it's the most atmosphere you get out of anything from like the last couple seasons. It opens with these large, and actually, you could see some of the trees in the background behind me. Um, Huge pines, like seems like they're like 500 feet tall. A lot of like fog creeping through them, some light shining through as well. And you have the image of the boy in the yellow raincoat, very reminiscent of it, and has a very Stephen King vibe, even with like it being set in like that really small town. So the premise is they're called Mulder and Scully are called in because it's a murder of a child, but the child is that of a law enforcement officer. So they don't go in thinking that it's an X file. They just go in thinking that it's the murder of a child. They see the body and it looks mauled or mangled, and the local law enforcement, they think it's just like a wild animal or something like that. But Scully notices like the neck's broken on the child. She's like, this is not an animal attack. She's like, maybe the bites are post mortem, but this neck break, this is a murder. So once that happens, the father, who is a cop of the deceased child, finds out this information and proceeds to go off of Scully's profile for the killer, because she gives a profile that it's probably a male of age whatever to whatever, and he's living in the area, and he probably gets off on this kind of thing. So he goes in the sex offender like registry, finds the sex offender that most likely fits the profile, and it's a guy who works with kids at like birthday parties, and he's failed to register. So the cop's like, this is the guy, this is the fucking guy, I'm going after him. He goes on his own rogue mission to find this guy, gets to the house, speeds past Scully and like the sheriff. They chase him. They get to the house. The guy isn't there. So later on, the cop catches up to the guy. And there's like by this point, the whole town knows there's like a mob around the guy. And they're like, you know, you're a pedophile. You're this, you're that. And the cop's beating him to shit. Like he's all bloody. And the mob starts to beat him up once the cop steps away, and Mulder and Scully intervene. And then you think the guy's just gonna give up, the cop, he's gonna give up and walk away, but he doesn't. He shoots the fucking offender in the head, which totally blew me away because I did not see that coming. And I'm like, okay, what happens now? Where do we go from here? Because you know it's not the guy. By
And
this
decently
point,
violent too. Pretty violent headshot as well.
Yeah,
because
I
it's
mean
in front of
it's
everybody, Mulder and everybody.
mhm. Yeah, and like because the town's like whipped into a frenzy, they're not even like reacting like, "Oh my god, he just did it." They're just happy that they got justice. It's like they think it's guilty. But the whole time in the episode, you see this character appear. You see him appearing in the forest, luring the child into the forest. You see him lure another little girl out, and she's killed as well. But
Well,
Mold,
actually,
go ahead.
wasn't the girl like the Teletubby looking one?
Right, it was a Teletubby looking
It was
one,
her
which is
show.
yeah, it's in one shot, and that was actually the inspiration for it, a show
Oh,
like
okay.
that. Yeah, so that's why it
I
looks
don't
pretty
blame
similar
them.
to it.
Teletubbies are pretty creepy.
That yeah, they thought so too.
With
Yeah.
TVs in their stomach or where the hell it is. I don't know what
Yeah.
acid they took to create them, but must be some bad acid
Yeah,
or
so
good acid. I don't know.
right. It's just wrapped up in a really cool way. You find out that it's all like um an adultery situation going on. The sheriff has been sleeping with the wife of the kid who was murdered initially, and Mulder finds a grimoire, which is a book that has spells that can conjure demons and angels and stuff like that. And she sort of uses it to get revenge on the wife gets it to get revenge on the husband that's cheating, and it's a cool episode. I mean, there's some twists that you don't see coming. It's got some nice atmosphere, and you see like this hellhound creature which guards the gates of hell as well in the show. There's some car flips, people get shot. The chick burns with the book as she's reading a spell, like much like the scene in Hereditary,
Oh, wow.
done in pretty much the exact same way, and the book doesn't burn like in Hereditary. Yeah, it's just really good. I mean, it's very much a throwback, like Matt said, to like season 2, that episode. It has some good atmosphere, and overall, it's one of the best I think of the season for Monster of the Week, of course.
I'll have to watch that one. I just got behind at some point on watching the
You
Monster of
watched
the
all
Week
the bad
episodes.
ones.
Apparently, yeah. But I mean, it's like a roulette wheel. You're gonna, if you're betting,
Exactly.
you're gonna hit the bad ones. It's like if you're just
Mhm.
trying to choose.
Yeah,
I
there's
would
the
say though, like
Hellhound.
the followers, the base, whatever, and this one I think is worth a watch, considering all the other palettes of the season.
Mhm.
They're worth at least one
Uh,
watch.
So okay, Nothing Lasts Forever is episode 9, which is the organ removal. Sorry, episode.
Yeah.
Anybody have any thoughts on that one?
Didn't mind the
Um,
effect, a little bit like Cronenberg, where their
mhm.
spies are connected together, and it's to reverse stop the aging process. Because this old actress and this doctor guy is working with it. They also have this other girl who's like her sister's missing and is in the cold. And she's like, I would always say vampire on her, but there's no vampires. But
That's
she
what it
kills
seems like.
doctors like
Yeah,
vampires.
yeah.
Yeah.
They do
Lara
the
Croft,
thing.
Doc Hunter.
Mhm.
They do the thing with like she like what drives metal stakes through their hearts or something like that.
Yes.
So
Mhm.
it's very
Yeah.
kind of I don't know if it's meant to be like vampire related. It doesn't seem to be, but it's like the way that she goes about doing that.
Mhm.
Her religion propels her to do it that way, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah, it's got some Cronenberg vibes for sure with the whole like the body stuff. So they're like sewn together, and one person uses the life force of another person to retain their youth. And the doctor, I think, is like in the cult, and he's basically found the cure for aging, which he calls like aging and getting old like a disease. Um, and that's pretty much the episode. I mean, Matt said the other half, and that's it's one of the better ones, I think. It's not bad.
Yeah.
So
Considering what's coming next.
are you ready to talk
Right.
about like the single worst thing that's ever existed since the Kennedy assassination?
This is so underwhelming that a
Oh,
farting
boy.
church would have made more of an explosion than this movie.
So the
I mean,
final,
episode.
which could be this could be the final episode of the X Files if this one thing doesn't go through.
Hmm.
This is my struggle for my struggle lives, and
The final chapter.
the final chapter. Yeah. So this is all mostly a William episode, which is awful in the fact that you're just following him around like the whole episode basically
Hmm.
as he is chased by these different like entities and
When he can just
the
kill them
syndicate.
with the thought.
And yeah, that's the part that makes it ridiculous too, is because and he kills everybody basically in this whole fucking thing except the one person that he probably should kill.
Hmm.
And I never understood that part either. But like, so they're trying Mulder and Scully are trying to find William, who is on the run from, I guess he's on the run from the syndicate. Is that right? Like, he's
Well,
on the,
I think so.
yeah. Well, the cigarette smoking man's basically trying to get William. That's what he's been searching for this whole time because William's the one anomaly kid or
right.
person with the hybrid DNA. And he's the only one to ever have powers like this. And so, yeah.
So they're, they're trying to find him, as is Barbara Hershey and her group and all
Mhm.
these people. And it harkens back to that Ghoulies Go to College episode, because like a lot of the the a lot of the kids from that episode are in this episode too.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
so it's really just like Scully has this psychic link with him and she knows like what's going to happen. She knows where he's at. Mulder is running around like trying to find him. He finally catches up with him and he's trying to explain to him, all of this different stuff, but he can't explain it to him because he gets interrupted and yada fucking yada. And then he runs away again and basically explodes like as many people as he can possibly explode with his mind. Um, does the large Marge gimmick to a truck driver. It's just a bunch of shit like that. Until so yeah, they corner him in this hotel room and it's ridiculous because like there's all these people with guns and he just blows them all up with his mind. He gets picked up by
Scanner style.
yeah, he gets picked up by the one guy, I can't remember the name of the guy, like, and he blows him up with his mind and he just kills everybody. And you get to the end where it's the cigarette smoking man finally tracks him down. Well, no, he does track him down, but by this point, William is shapeshifted into Mulder
Mhm.
and is running around telling Scully, "Hey, like you should leave this kid alone. He doesn't want to be like found, or he doesn't want you to worry about him or anything like that. Like just leave him alone." And then you find out it's not really like Mulder; it's really William telling her that. And then he runs over to the cigarette smoking man. And as Mulder, he looks like Mulder, and then the cigarette smoking man shoots who he thinks Mulder in the head. It actually turns out to be William. Mulder shoots the cigarette smoking man. I'm fairly certain he doesn't kill him because it looks like he's wearing a vest or something.
Mhm.
He just falls into the fucking like whatever bay or whatever that is. But previous to that, I almost left out the best part of this episode and the best part of this whole season. Reyes and the cigarette smoking man are trying to run down Skinner in
Mhm.
this car, and out of nowhere, he just fucking shoots Reyes in the head, and she
Yeah.
dies. And I just thought that was the best.
Yeah, she tries to like stop because cigarette
Yeah.
smoking man's like, "Go run him down," and
Yeah,
Reyes is like, "No." She doesn't want to kill Skinner, but he like steps on her foot and like accelerates the car right toward him, And Skinner's, I don't even know if he can see through the windshield because the car is so far. He's just shooting at the driver. So I don't even know if he knows that he killed Reyes.
He did. What a great. That should have been the end. They should have just rolled credits. Reyes fucking takes a bullet to the head.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, so the car's out of control. Skinner dives forward, or trips, I should say. I keep saying he jumps. Trips, and then like the car goes over him and crashes into another car, and he's trapped underneath. And again, he could be alive, he couldn't be, who knows? I would say he probably is, but again, if the series doesn't continue, then what does it matter? Just like the rest of what happens in the episode, what does it matter?
Yeah.
You find out
So-
that they're Scully's pregnant at the end, this time by Mulder.
Yeah. How the fuck could I forget that? Yeah. So, by the way, we haven't really mentioned this, but all the way through this episode, they're living together and sleeping together and like shit. Like, that's another part, too. So, they're kind of together as a couple throughout this whole thing, which is another thing that fucks everything up because that's just not. I mean, it's what people wanted, but it's also anytime you do that, like, it always is just doom for a show. What were your thoughts about this finale? Because I just
underwhelming, to say the least. It didn't really wrap anything up. Everything's just still up in the air. Nothing's been resolved.
No.
Carter apologized for it because he said like his goal was to like resolve everything, but he did the opposite.
Yeah.
And yeah, even his apology for season 11 and the mythology stuff isn't enough.
Does he just have like gambling debts or something? Or like he just wants to keep the show like going on forever?
I guess like I don't know. I mean, it's one thing to like be proud of your creation and maybe you get another shot to sort of fix what you did with season 9. I get that part, but like to not take advantage of it and really give it everything you've got, because like you guys even said like season 10 felt pretty lazy. And then season 11 with his mythology stuff was just bad ideas all around. So
I really do think I would prefer season 9. Like I would prefer if it just ended in season 9 as opposed to this shit. Like and I didn't think I would think that because season 9's so awful the way that it ended, but goddamn, this isn't any better.
Yeah. Would you guys have watched the spinoff with Agent Einstein and Agent Miller?
No, I don't think I would.
After this was over? No.
I don't think so.
Not if you put my balls on a carburetor would I watch it.
Jesus.
This episode and it was bullshit. The quote to David Lynch, bullshit. As he said, I forget what interview it was. Just someone asked him a question. And he's like, I think it's bullshit. Just left.
Yeah. There's a great clip out there of David Lynch being interviewed by this guy, and he's talking about Eraserhead, and he says something to him like, so you've said that this movie is like that nobody understands what this movie is really about. Can you expand upon that? And he just goes, no. I just like that's it.
That's awesome.
He absolutely will not like expand on any of his movies about what they could mean or anything like that. In any interview I've ever seen, he always just shuts down that shit immediately.
Wow.
Yeah.
This is what it led up to. This is what it led up to. This wet fart of an ending.
It all like it was so great. Like the show to me all the way up to 8 seasons. Maybe even like parts of 9 too. Like if you compare them to 10 and 11. Such a great show with such great like characters, such great stories. Like did stuff on television that hadn't been done since Twin Peaks. Like, I mean, completely revolutionized the way that, you know, episodic television was being done at that time.
Yep.
And then just brought back for like a quick cash grab, money horror kind of thing that just shit all over it. Like, and I'm really serious when I say that I'm just going to forget that these exist. Like, I'm not ever watching these again. I don't need to ever see this again. I'm just going to act like it ended in season 9 and none of this shit happened. And I'm sure eventually Chris Carter will do that same thing and he'll just ignore all that last 2 season shit anyway.
But Uncle Bill, hold on, let me see if I can get it.
Don't fucking
Don't
do
you?
it.
Don't you?
Do you believe in the existence of extraterrestrials?
Oh. What an ending, though. It goes out with a whimper and not a bang.
Yeah, it's if I'd had to recommend it, like just watch the original run. Stop at like season 8, maybe, and just
Yeah.
don't bother with
you
the
could
rest. Just
easily
focus on the
prison.
original, the OG.
Yep.
Like just
I would
don't.
say just watch about the 2-3 episodes we mentioned, like
Yeah.
like the one Uncle Bill mentioned, plus one, the one I mentioned, Followers, the one Mark mentioned, the Chuckle Teeth one.
Mm-hmm.
Watch those 3 standalone. That's why I put it above season 10. But yeah, as a whole, this is just lame ass duck fuck of an ending.
Season 10 just seemed like it didn't even really like exist to me. It was so short and almost like so pointless that you could completely take it out and it wouldn't make any difference whatsoever. Like to the rest of the storyline or anything like that.
Well, you know what? It kind of would, because you wouldn't get Tad O'Malley.
Shut the fuck up, Mark. Yeah, so it would be better if you left out season 10. Yeah. But anyway, that has been the X-Files, the entire run of the show. We've got one movie to do at some point. I don't know when, because this really depressed me to the point where I'm completely fucking burnt out on the X-Files at this point. So hopefully we'll get to that at some point.
Yeah, we got to see Exhibit.
Shit. God damn it. But I have another idea, and I was telling you guys about this, that the 3 of us are going to do a new show. I'm not going to tell anybody what the show's about yet because people love to steal our shit more so than anything else in the fucking world.
Mm-hmm.
So, but needless to say, in the next couple of weeks, like the 3 of us will be together again doing a show that will be not based on a series, not based on like any shows. It'll be more of a generalized show where we just bullshit about stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And so that'll be coming soon, and I'll unveil the title and what it's about and yada, 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 yada. But if you guys got anything that you want to talk about before we pop off here, let me know and just go ahead and kind of bring it up, Rambo, if you got shows coming up.
At one point, maybe Stuntman, Marq, and me will do another commentary. We've been talking. Maybe it'll be a good movie. Maybe it'll be a bad movie.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it'll be Alien Resurrection. We don't know yet.
Yeah,
I hope not, for y'all's sake.
As for me, I continue to upload requests. A guy sent in a bunch of generous requests for me to react to Royal Rumble matches. So I'll be doing commentaries on Royal Rumble 95, 97, 2008, the matches themselves. More requests of various reviews. For example, I sit through Victor Crowley again, which that would be great. Hatchet 4. Did you ever see that one?
That movie's fucking awful, man. I mean,
the one at the plane.
I hate all those movies. I really do. But the Victor Crowley one is just the worst, really, because the effects are like 1,000 times worse. And it's just like there's no story whatsoever. They crash a fucking plane. They're in a plane. He's just basically like going in there, like killing them on a plane. It's fucking awful.
Yeah.
So I rewatch that and review that. And on a side note, for anyone who does see this, not many people are in the games, but I've been playing this, and it was
Me
fun.
too.
A lot
Oh
of
yeah,
fun.
I'm
It's
having
a
a blast.
remake, and for those out there who like those type of
Everybody's
games,
playing that right now. Yeah.
a lot of fun. So other than that, same stuff as usual. So how about you, Mark?
Yeah, I'm still working on that. I told Rambo this like a few days ago. Still working on my Hellraiser 4 video.
I
Part
love
of the
that
reason
movie,
why
by
is
the way.
because I'm trying to shoot this big monstrosity right here. I showed Rambo already, but I'll show
Yeah,
you
we don't say
Uncle
if you don't
Bill.
show. It's pretty cool.
Oh, this
Oh,
huge
that's
thing.
awesome.
Yeah, it's I think I don't see the number. I think it's limited to like 300 units of this thing. And again, it
Was
came
that the
with the
same?
4K. And
Yeah, we don't say that was the same place you bought the 4K.
yeah, it came in like this huge set right here.
Wait a minute. When the fuck did that come out?
Um, I'm not sure exactly. I am
What
not
was the
sure.
company again that released that?
That was 84 Entertainment.
84 Entertainment. I've never
Yes,
heard of them
this
I
before.
haven't either.
this huge thing right here.
That's badass and brutal.
How
Yeah,
much
I
was
mean
that?
shit. I'd have to look. I think it was probably close to like 140 maybe. I think.
Pretty big
I'd have
box.
to look. Yeah, and you get shirt, cards, the 4K, the huge bust, which again I told Rambo that thing has real nails in the head, which is just badass. It's got some nice weight to it, but I'm gonna try to do more videos on stuff like that because I have quite a few of those.
Yeah.
And I just have so many different like editions for so many different movies. But I try to just focus on
2020
one
came
thing.
out.
2020.
2020.
Wow. Okay.
That's what it says here.
I see. This is the thing. You got shit I've never heard of that come out. Like I just never even like knew that existed because Bloodline is actually one of my favorite Hellraiser movies.
I have
So-
the
Yeah.
I have the original screenplay. It's over here, but I don't want to get up again.
Limited to 300. Yeah, there's
Yeah.
only 300
Yeah.
of those.
Yeah, I got number 11. So
Damn.
yeah, yeah. I just got to start doing more videos and stuff like that. Like
People
I got
love
some-
shit like that
Especially
too,
what-
man. Like you've got to like get on that because that's huge
know.
right now.
I know.
Yep.
I
Yeah,
have
they show what's all on it. There's a lot of stuff on here. A work
Mhm.
print, a soundtrack CD,
mhm.
booklets. Like, wow.
That's like the coveted one
T-shirt?
too. Like because people like really like the idea of the original version and not so much the theatrical. Even though I don't mind the theatrical cut, I think that one's pretty decent. But like I said, I even have the fucking original screenplay. That's how much I like it. And yeah, that work print is highly sought after, which again is not available here. So
Damn.
Yep.
Oh, you
So
got Ghoulies 3 on Blu-ray and this. Like, you got every.
I have
Hallelujah.
so many things right here that I'm working on video wise. I have this huge Crow thing for the Crow because I love the movie. I told you, Rambo, I was working on something for the Crow.
Yeah.
This set for Halloween, this huge set for Faces of Death that has a bust much like that one. A huge not Faces of Death. Well, that too, but Death Wish. Leather
What's
books.
the bust for Faces of Death? Like, what would that
It's the
be?
guy in
A
the
bust
chair.
of?
The guy getting
Oh.
electrocuted. Yeah, it's so
With the
gnarly.
straps on his face?
Yep. Yeah.
Oh, it's a bust of his head or the whole chair?
Like I would say like shoulders up.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Same place? Same 84?
I'd have to go get it. I think it is 84 Entertainment.
Damn, 84. Yeah, never heard of these guys before. Okay. I mean, it's an
Yeah.
overseas thing, obviously. But okay.
Yeah, I've been getting their stuff for about a decade, maybe. I want to
Wow,
say like
okay.
since like 2010. They've got. I mean, I've told Uncle Bill before. It's kind of a sickness, man. Like I probably
Say that. Yeah.
I probably don't need all this shit, man. But like I can't help it. I got.
But at least you actually watch it and care. It's not like Cinema Sickness or whatever the hell his name is.
Yeah. What does he do?
I don't
Listen,
know. I just heard
there's-
things about it.
There's a whole goddamn community now of a whole bunch of people
Mhm.
that just buy like everything you can think of and never watch any. They don't even intend on watching. They don't even like the movies. They just buy like stuff just to be like to have it, so that they can like do videos about it. And that's their fan base is just doing that. Like,
The Blue Tubers. I've heard
yes,
that before.
yeah,
Okay.
that's just all they do now.
Okay.
And like,
Yeah.
there's so many of them that we know it's ridiculous, and they just drive me crazy. But I don't know, whatever. Like, Godspeed to them if they want to do that shit. But it's so pointless to me.
Mhm.
But
I still don't know why you buy something if you don't like it. But that's a man the mindset.
you know what I don't get?
Yeah, I don't get that
There's
either.
one particular person that does this like all the time. There's at least a couple of guys that will buy every version of the same movie when it comes out. So, for example, if it comes out in a standard edition and it comes out in a limited edition and it comes out in like a Walmart edition or like they'll buy every one of them. And it could be just the dumb, like Transformers or something like that. Just the dumbest shit you can think of.
There's a guy on YouTube
Oh.
that I saw years ago. I don't know if he's still around. I don't remember his name. He had like every edition of Evil Dead from every country.
Oh my
Like,
God.
and his floor was just like full of it was just all different covers of, and it was the same thing. I mean, I have a ton of Evil Dead stuff. I love Evil Dead. I got a million editions, but I actually like it. But I didn't get everything from every country. I try to go for like the most unique thing, and that's kind of it. And then
Yeah.
there's small variations of other stuff, but
Yeah.
not to the degree of this guy. His entire floor. He did the same thing for the Saw movies. He had every Saw movie from every. I'm just like, this guy wasted all this money on this stuff. Like, there's no way you're gonna
Obsessive
watch.
kind of thing. Like, what? Yeah. Like, what are you going to fucking do with all that shit?
I don't.
And
get it.
these guys, like, you look at these guys' setups and stuff, and they've got like, rows upon rows of cabinets and rooms filled up with these things that they could never, ever even begin to watch any of this stuff. Like, if they wanted to, they could never watch it. And to me, it's just like, what do you do with that shit? You just keep it all there, and then. Because I guarantee nobody's coming over and being like, wow, that's a hell of a fucking, G.I. Joe collection, like of the animated series you got. You know what I mean? Like, nobody's coming over to admire any of the shit that they have. So you just
Right.
taking up all this fucking
Space.
space and like, for what reason? And I'll never figure it out entirely. But I know it's like it's an obsessive kind of thing.
Mhm.
I mean, I got this. It was your gift. It's Predator 2.
You
Oh,
got,
nice.
well, that makes sense. Yeah.
Well, that's
You gotta have
someone
Danny
sent me, and
Glover.
it's like exactly.
That
But
actually makes sense.
yeah, I don't. I mean, if it's their money, they want to do it, teach their own. I think that if I buy something, I'm gonna watch it. It's
Right.
like not just buy 18 versions and never see the thing. That's just not for me, I guess.
Which, by the way, I got on a streak here recently, speaking of which, and I watched a bunch of shit that I've had over here forever. I watched My Samurai. I watched I watched a lot of these
How much
MVD movies and Scream Factory movies that I bought. And God, what was some of the other ones that I watched? It was some hilarious shit. The one with Wings Hauser.
Deadly Force or something?
Something, yeah, Deadly Force. That was it. Yeah.
Okay.
I watched that one. I watched Death Wish 1 and 2 again.
Love those movies. Love
Those
Death
movies
Wish.
are amazing, by the way. Like, it's something about him, like the way that he pulls off that character, that it really makes it believable, especially the first Death Wish. And maybe even the second one too. The third one is goofy as hell, but I love that movie because I grew up with it. And
I love
watched
part
I love
4.
it too.
I watched Crackdown. I was getting ready to say, like, I just got that on Blu-ray, and that's an awesome
J. Lee Thompson.
movie as well. Yeah,
He worked with him on 10 to Midnight. So
well, it's a great movie.
it
It's really got a vibe to it too, with the arcades and the skating rinks and shit in it. Like, it just kind of takes you back to that time period too.
Yep.
Anyway, point being is that I'm trying to watch a lot of this shit that I bought now. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm slowly like wading my way through it.
Nice.
Did you watch that Sidekicks one?
I haven't bought the Sidekicks one yet.
I watched it as soon as I got it.
How
Yeah.
is the transfer about it? It's got to be amazing.
Great. It's great.
Yeah. I haven't bought that one. I don't know why. I'll probably buy it tomorrow or because they're having speaking of which, tomorrow at 11:30 a.m.
That's right.
is the next thing that I'm doing, which is the me and Steve are doing the Vinegar Syndrome cell drop. So they're having their titles tomorrow, which is April Fool's, and I'm suspecting they're going to do something similar to what they did with the titty movie. What was the titty movie? Invisible Maniac, where they had
okay.
Pretty
I was
sure
gonna say
that
Bat Pussy.
Bat Pussy, no. But I'm pretty sure it was April that they did the invisible slipcover thing that turned out to be like the next greatest thing in the world. So I'm thinking they'll do something similar to that tomorrow.
The reason I mentioned Sidekicks is because for those, as far as right now on Amazon, it's $31.50. And I know usually Vinegar Syndrome is like double that. So this is the 4K, $31 on Amazon. So for those who do want it.
I'm honestly trying to wait to see if like it gets included in any of the sales that they got coming up. It probably won't. It probably won't, honestly, but I don't see that selling out though, because they probably fucking made a ton of those. The same way they did with like Roadhouse and some of that other stuff too.
Fucking showgirls. Fucking showgirls. Of all the titles to pick,
I know. That's exactly what I thought when I saw that. I was like, God damn. But anyway, so we're way out in the road here. It was great to have you guys on. And I'll be seeing both of you guys soon when we start the new series, and I hope everybody watches that. I'm going to promote the living dog shit out of that when we get ready to do that. And I'm going to make CK promote it as well. Nice. So this is the end of the X-Files until we do the movie at some point. So I appreciate y'all. It's been a fun series. We've gone extensively through this. I don't think there's another, I know there's not, as a matter of fact, on YouTube, I don't think there's another more kind of comprehensive review of the series as this. So I'm glad that we did that for sure.
Wait, 1 second. Yeah. One last thing. I did not notice till now you had the fucking FBI.
No, you didn't see that? Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. Nice.
Yeah, that is cool.
So yeah. Until the next time that I see you guys take care and check out Rambo Raph on his channel. Check out Stuntman Marq on his channel. Check out Dead Pit on Patreon. Check out tomorrow for the Vinegar Syndrome drop. And I'm Uncle Bill, and we are out of here. See you guys.
Later.
Give us the thumbs up.
Up your butt.
Like, subscribe. And if you subscribe, here's something else you can do. Once you subscribe, you can click the bell notification, right? And it'll notify you anytime that Dead Pit puts up new shit.
Or don't. I really don't give a if you do.
I want you to. I want you to.
I don't care.
Let's keep our community growing here on YouTube.
I don't like it. I don't want you to do nothing.
Listen, they need to do that, pal.
No, don't you dare touch it.
Thumbs up. Subscribe. And click that bell.
Hey everyone, it's Oak Early Jaws. We got some great shirts for you. We got Faces of Death Part 2. We got Creepy Stories to Tell in Kentucky. The Colonel Would Approve. We also got DeadPit.com. We got Dead Pit Radio with the little fucking Dead Pit dude on there. We got It Never Ends, a Halloween spook parody of the new movie. We got It at Night. We got the Rat Pack, Uncle Rat himself. It just gets better and better, so go on and get you some shirts over at Team Public. It just gets better and better, boss.
Thank you to all of our supporters on Patreon. DeadPitOnPatreon.com is the only place to check out a complete archive of the old Dead Pit radio shows all the way back from 2005 on, in addition to the midweek shows and fan commentaries, exclusive podcasts, and much more. Dead Pit on Patreon.com if you're interested. Tiers start at only $1.